competitions which may not be relevant or reflect the intentions of Golden West Television.
This 1992 NBL telecast, proudly brought to you by West Track Equipment and Chicken Treat.
Tonight, the Perth Wildcats and Melbourne Tigers play to keep their season alive. It's Game 3 of their NBL quarter-final playoff, a showdown between East and West. The winner goes through to the semi-finals. For the loser, it's the end of the road for 1992. Taking centre stage, Gaze and Copeland up against Blahoff, Crawford and Grace. Stand by for another classic encounter, the Wildcats and Tigers from the National Tennis Centre, Flinders Park, Melbourne. Hi everyone, welcome to our telecast of Game 3 of the quarter-final series between the Perth Wildcats and Melbourne Tigers. The stakes are high tonight. The winner through to the semi-finals of the NBL. For the loser, it's curtains for 1992. Just a small crowd in at the present time, around about 4,000. But good news for the Wildcats, with Pete Hansen being declared fit to play, and he'll take his place in the starting lineup tonight. Well, it's a best-of-3 quarter-final series as we check the early results in Perth last Friday night. The Wildcats winners by 8 points. Game 2 in Melbourne on Monday night. A thriller with the Tigers home by 1 point. John Gardner is with me. John, the Wildcats don't have a very good record in Melbourne, 0-4 this year, but this is the game that counts.
Well, it sure is, Peter. And the season could finish for either of these clubs tonight. The pressure is equally on both after Melbourne's great fight-back victory by the narrowest of margins on Monday night. The Wildcats really have it all to do tonight in front of them against adversity, but they were very confident at practice today, and we're in for one hell of a game.
Where will this game be won and lost?
Well, I think that all of the major games are won on the defensive situation, particularly on the rebounds, and I suspect that tonight the Wildcats will want to run. In the last 4 minutes of Game 2, Ricky Grace ran very, very well, and I think they'll need more of that tonight.
Right, we've got some great players in action tonight. Here's their thoughts on tonight's game.
Being our grand final, it's probably the most important game we've played, well, it is the most important game all year, and if we can get over this game, I think that we consider ourselves a strong chance to go all the way.
Still a die, and hopefully I think we'll produce our best effort of the season tonight.
For the winners, we go on, and the losers, they go home.
All right. I'm sure you had a lot of surprises for us, mate.
Some early byplay. Andrew Gay's given his marching orders from the Wildcats training today.
Well, a little good-natured banter there, maybe a bit of strategy. I suspect Andrew is ready to leave anyway. No big deal.
John, let's have a look at the facts and figures from the series so far.
Well, it's been the most interesting series, and if we look at the averages, the Tigers, who led the league in scoring, are well down. They average 114 points per game. Wildcats at about 103 is where they have been all season. Shooting percentage from the Tigers is down. They've been about 49, maybe 50. Wildcats about 50 all year. Foul shooting percentages up for both clubs. They'd be happy with that. The big advantage, of course, comes from beyond the three-point arc, where the Tigers are shooting exceptionally well. That 42% extrapolates to about a 58% from two-point range. Rebounds you would expect to favour the Wildcats, as it has all year. Turnovers, well, the Tigers protect the ball a lot better than what the Wildcats have done.
So the series then tied at 1-1. A short time ago we spoke with Wildcats coach Murray Arnold. Murray, it's the case of the Wildcats bouncing back tonight?
Certainly is, and obviously in a do-or-die game.
Give us an update on Pete Hansen, please.
Well, hopefully he's ready to play. We plan on starting him and seeing how far he can go, but we're hopeful and optimistic that he'll be able to start the game and play well.
Where do you see this game being won and lost?
Well, I think the 4 games we played with the Tigers this year have just been absolute classics. So I think it gets down in the playoffs, as I've said before, to fundamentals, execution, defense, rebounding, just all the basics of the game. I don't think there's any intricate, secret, strategic key. I think it's just going to be 2 good teams going at it and what hopefully will be an NBL Classic playoff game.
We've got some terrific players in the contest. The Tigers, both Gaze and Copeland. You've got your own too, like Grace and Blahoff.
Well, yeah, I think there's some great players at it. Obviously, the 4 you've mentioned, and the Tigers have some other great players. Simmons, Whitehead, Sibley. They've got a fine crew. We think we've got a good basketball team. So this is what it's all about at playoff time. The best in the league kind of going head-to-head with a lot at stake.
Murray Arnold there, Wildcats coach. John's with me. John, he hasn't used Mike Ellis a lot. Just 2.5 minutes game 1. He didn't see the court, Ellis, in game 2 here on Monday night.
No, obviously Mike Ellis is very disappointed with his game time. If you look back to game 1 when these 2 teams met in the regular season here, Mike Ellis had a great game defensively on Andrew Gaze, really didn't trouble the scorer and has suffered all year offensively. I suspect that's why he's not playing many minutes at this time. They're looking for more points.
Let's get the thoughts on the game now from Tigers coach Lindsay Gaze. He's standing by with Dean Templeton.
Thanks, Peter. Well, Lindsay, I suppose this is it. What can we expect tonight?
I'm expecting pretty much more of the same, that each of the games that we played this year, we're now 2-2, and every game has been similar. Been very physical contests. They've been well fought out, well balanced. Results been down all the way through to the end, and I expect it to be pretty much the same again.
So no real changes from Monday night strategy. With Peter Hansen may play more minutes. Will that affect you guys at all?
Probably will, on the basis that it'll present that problem that we had on the boards on Friday night. It was a different game. I mean, we were in a winning position on Friday night as well. So whilst it's different, it doesn't necessarily mean the result will be affected too greatly.
All right, Lindsay, I wish you all the best of luck. All of Victoria's behind you. It should be a great game, Peter.
Okay, thanks very much, Dean. Let's check the lineups then. Firstly, the Tigers, the dynamic duo in the backcourt. Gaze and Copeland will need to be stopped tonight.
Well, Giddy, of course, has played a lot of minutes and very valuable minutes against bigger opponents. Sibley had a great start to game 2 and really was the difference in the early part. Simmons played a lot of minutes, 40-odd minutes, and I think he'll get a lot more time out there tonight. Lenarden didn't play much. Gordon, Purchase and Tenner. The man right at the bottom of the list, Stephen Whitehead, 20 points in game 1, only 10 in game 2, and very prolific from the 3-point line, so they'll be looking for more from Stephen Whitehead tonight.
The Wildcats welcome back Pete Hansen in their starting 5. Torrance goes to the bench, but they'll need more from Vince Hinchin tonight.
Vince Hinchin hasn't had a good offensive game. Is shooting something like 25% over the last 2 playoff games. He's regularly at 48% from the floor during the regular season. Has only scored 11 in each game. Significantly, 7 of the 11 came in the last quarter of game 2. But I suspect that Andrew Blahoff and James Crawford also will be looking for points tonight. Crawford's had a magnificent series. Blahoff's down a little bit.
I wish I was 18 again.
It's Jack.
Tonight, the Perth Wildcats and Melbourne Tigers play to keep their season alive. It's game 3 of their NBL quarter-final playoff, a showdown between East and West. The winner goes through to the semi-finals. For the loser, it's the end of the road for 1992. Taking centre stage, Gaze and Copeland up against Blahoff, Crawford and Grace. Stand by for another classic encounter, the Wildcats and Tigers from the National Tennis Centre, Flinders Park, Melbourne. Hi everyone, welcome to our telecast of Game 3 of the quarter-final series between the Perth Wildcats and Melbourne Tigers. The stakes are high tonight. The winner through to the semi-finals of the NBL. For the loser, it's curtains for 1992. Just a small crowd in at the present time, around about 4,000. But good news for the Wildcats, with Pete Hansen being declared fit to play, and he'll take his place in the starting lineup tonight. Well, it's a best-of-3 quarter-final series as we check the early results in Perth last Friday night. The Wildcats winners by 8 points. Game 2 in Melbourne on Monday night. Thriller with the Tigers home by 1 point. John Gardner is with me. John, the Wildcats don't have a very good record in Melbourne, 0-4 this year, but this is the game that counts.
Well, it sure is, Peter. And the season could finish for either of these clubs tonight. The pressure is equally on both after Melbourne's great fight-back victory by the narrowest of margins on Monday night. The Wildcats really have it all to do tonight in front of them against adversity, but they were very confident at practice today, and we're in for one hell of a game.
Where will this game be won and lost?
Well, I think that all of the major games are won on the defensive situation, particularly on the rebounds, and I suspect that tonight the Wildcats will want to run. In the last 4 minutes of game 2, Ricky Grace ran very, very well, and I think they'll need more of that tonight.
Right, we've got some great players in action tonight. Here's their thoughts on tonight's game.
Being our grand final, it's probably the most important game we've played, it is the most important game all year, and if we can get over this game, I think that we consider ourselves a strong chance to go all the way.
It's do or die, and hopefully I think we'll produce our best effort of the season tonight.
For the winners, we go on, and the losers, they go home.
All right. I'm sure you had a lot of surprises for us, mate.
Some early byplay. Andrew Gay's given his marching orders from the Wildcats training today.
Well, a little good-natured banter there, maybe a bit of strategy. I suspect Andrew is ready to leave anyway. No big deal.
John, let's have a look at the facts and figures from the series so far.
Well, it's been a most interesting series, and if we look at the averages, the Tigers, who led the league in scoring, are well down. They average 114 points per game. Wildcats at about 103 is where they have been all season. Shooting percentage from the Tigers is down. They've been about 49, maybe 50. Wildcats about 50 all year. Foul shooting percentages up for both clubs. They'd be happy with that. The big advantage, of course, comes from beyond the three-point arc, where the Tigers are shooting exceptionally well. That 42% extrapolates to about a 58% from two-point range. Rebounds you would expect to favour the Wildcats, as it has all year. Turnovers, well, the Tigers protect the ball a lot better than what the Wildcats have done.
So the series then tied at 1-1. A short time ago we spoke with Wildcats coach Murray Arnold. Murray, it's the case of the Wildcats bouncing back tonight?
Certainly is, and obviously in a do-or-die game.
Give us an update on Pete Hansen, please.
Well, hopefully he's ready to play. We plan on starting him and seeing how far he can go, but we're hopeful and optimistic that he'll be able to start the game and play well.
Where do you see this game being won and lost?
Well, I think the 4 games we played with the Tigers this year have just been absolute classics. So I think it gets down in the playoffs, as I've said before, to fundamentals, execution, defense, rebounding, just all the basics of the game. I don't think there's any intricate, secret, strategic key. I think it's just going to be 2 good teams going at it, and what hopefully will be an NBL Classic playoff game.
We've got some terrific players in the contest. The Tigers, both Gaze and Copeland. You've got your own too, like Grace and Blahoff.
Well, yeah, I think there's some great players at it. Obviously, the 4 you've mentioned, and the Tigers have some other great players. Simmons, Whitehead, Sibley. They've got a fine crew. We think we've got a good basketball team. So this is what it's all about at playoff time. The best in the league kind of going head-to-head with a lot at stake.
Murray Arnold there, Wildcats coach. John's with me. John, he hasn't used Mike Ellis a lot. Just 2.5 minutes game 1. He didn't see the court, Ellis, in game 2 here on Monday night.
No, obviously Mike Ellis is very disappointed with his game time. If you look back to game 1, when these 2 teams met in the regular season here, Mike Ellis had a great game defensively on Andrew Gaze, really didn't trouble the scorer, and has suffered all year offensively. I suspect that's why he's not playing many minutes at this time. They're looking for more points.
Let's get the thoughts on the game now from Tigers coach Lindsay Gaze. He's standing by with Dean Templeton.
Thanks, Peter. Well, Lindsay, I suppose this is it. What can we expect tonight?
I'm expecting pretty much more of the same. That each of the games that we played this year, we're now 2-2, and every game has been similar. Been very physical contests. I've been well fought out, well balanced. Results been down all the way through to the end. I expect it to be pretty much the same again.
So no real changes from Monday night strategy. With Peter Hansen may play more minutes. Will that affect you guys at all?
Probably will, on the basis that it'll present that problem that we had on the boards on Friday night. It was a different game. I mean, we were in a winning position on Friday night as well. So whilst it's different, it doesn't necessarily mean the result will be affected too greatly.
All right, Lindsay, I wish you all the best of luck. All the Victoria's behind you. It should be a great game, Peter.
Okay, thanks very much, Steve. Let's check the lineups then. Firstly, the Tigers, the dynamic duo in the backcourt. Gaze and Copeland will need to be stopped tonight.
Well, Giddy, of course, has played a lot of minutes and very valuable minutes against bigger opponents. Sibley had a great start to game 2 and really was the difference in the early part. Simmons played a lot of minutes, 40-odd minutes, and I think he'll get a lot more time out there tonight. Lenarden didn't play much. Gordon, Purchase and Tenner. The man right at the bottom of the list, Stephen Whitehead, 20 points in game 1, only 10 in game 2, and very prolific from the three-point line, so they'll be looking for more from Stephen Whitehead tonight.
The Wildcats welcome back Pete Hansen in their starting 5. Torrance goes to the bench, but they'll need more from Vince Hinchin tonight.
Vince Hinchin hasn't had a good offensive game. Is shooting something like 25% over the last 2 playoff games. He's regularly at 48% from the floor during the regular season. Has only scored 11 in each game. Significantly, 7 of the 11 came in the last quarter of game 2. But I suspect that Andrew Vlahoff and James Crawford also will be looking for points tonight. Crawford's had a magnificent series. Vlahoff's down a little bit.
So after a controversial game 2, our referees tonight, Eddie Crouch and Bill Milton Hall, no Ray Hunt out there as we see the Wildcats bench Pete Hansen, a focus of attention early on.
Well, Hansen certainly will be the man that they'll look to run the ball down the floor, and also for the power game that will be so very vital for the Wildcats.
No doubt about the atmosphere then. Game 3 of the quarter-final playoff series between the Wildcats and the Tigers, and the crowd has built in the last 10 minutes. I would think around about 6, maybe 7,000, which is a few more than we had in Game 2 on Monday night.
Well, if we pick up the lineups here as they start to make their way up to the floor, Hansen is there. Vlahoff, Crawford. We made mention earlier about the magnificent effort Crawford has put in throughout this playoff. Really has been the rock on which the Wildcats have wanted to build. Ricky Grace also has played very, very well. Played the point role well. Really subjected his own game to a little bit of caution as far as the offense. I think he needs to throw the shackles and run a bit more tonight. But here we go for the opener, and it's sudden death.
We're underway then. And it's the Cats with first possession. Vlahoff in the face of Sibley goes to Hansen at the top. Nice to see him back on the side. The bounce pass to Crawford. Cats patient in their build-up. They get it back out to the top of the court, and Grace is against Copeland. Takes on Copeland with the left hand. Gets the roll. The first points to Perth.
Good start from Ricky Grace. Interesting matchup there. We saw Andrew Gaze on Peter Hansen. Maybe looking for a few offensive situations to go their way, as it was in game 1. Sibley had a big impact in the first quarter. Has the ball out past the perimeter, goes across the pick, dishes off to Graze. Let's see what he can do when he gives it to Simmons, and there's Sibley underneath again.
Shot clock inside 10. The hook shot from Sibley, no good. Hansen feeds Grace. The Cats on the break. Vlahoff forced to pull up. The jeers of the crowd. A very physical game on Monday night, and no doubt the crowd hasn't forgotten that. An early turnover against Perth.
Well, there were a lot of offensive fouls as well. That helped to get the crowd in the game. First turnover won't help Vince Hinchin's confidence, but that was Andrew Vlahoff's poor pass.
Sibley, 8 first-quarter points in game 2. Low post, working against Hansen. Simmons, the jumper, no good. Vlahoff gets the rebound, and the call's against Vlahoff.
Well, that's interesting. Eddie Crouch comes into this game. It'll be most interesting. Let's see if we can pick it up for you. Oh, dear. Sibley's called it, I think. Well, the nerves are evident, aren't they, as both teams are probing at the moment. It will be most interesting to see if the referees continue in that same vein and call that slight contact.
No shortage in experience in terms of the officials. Bill Milton Hall, Eddie Crouch, arguably the best 2 referees in the NBL. This is Grace up against Copeland. He goes to the right, and Crawford. And Giddy was holding Crawford, was he? Or was it Sibley? Sibley holding Vlahoff.
Well, we've got the situation occurred at both ends of the floor. Crouch has called both fouls. Here it comes on replay for you. It's called on Giddy.
Blahoff back out. Crawford from 15 feet doesn't go. Copeland battling with Hinchin. They scrap on the floor. Giddy comes up with it. And Simmons, the outlet pass now. And Gaze is clear. This is for 3, John. All net.
Well, that's Andrew Gaze's layup. He shoots that with the same consistency that most people shoots layups. That's the start he would want.
Played a minute and 3/4. The Tigers up by a point. 3 plays 2. And Gaze, the turnover. Can't control it. Hinchin goes in strongly.
3 on 2 at the other end now.
Hinchin it back to Crawford. Crawford double team goes to Hansen. He's working against Sibley. Now Hinchin, can he produce something with his first shot tonight? No good. Here's Crawford battling hard. Plenty of big bodies in there.
Oh, gee, the Wildcats bench is up, as they should be at this situation. Very, very intense play under the backboard here. Crawford wheels, goes up. That's the contact that was called. Simmons first.
What a series he's had so far. 2 big games. 29 points game 1, 31 in the second game.
James Crawford, one of the most decorated in the league, on the line. He wants to go right through the playoffs and make it 3 in a row for the Wildcats.
The Cats in front by a point then, 4-3. Early going first quarter, 9.5 minutes to run on the clock. Copeland, Simmons looking to set the pick. It comes Simmons' way to the top. Gaze in the face of Hinchin. Gaze to the foul line. The jumper is good.
Well, Andrew Gaze can do it all in a one-on-one situation. First shot was from beyond 3-point area. Second one, a little drive. Pulled up strong for the jump shot off the dribble.
Blahoff, the fake around Simmons. This is Crawford working in close attendance to the basket. He couldn't put it away. And Sibley comes up with it. Gaze, far side. These teams have met 4 times this year. Gaze for 3, no good.
The long way up, Peter.
Hinchin.
See if we can pick up the defence here. Again, Andrew Gaze in there on Pete Hansen. Blahoff cutting, fading. Crawford on the opposite side. Another foul, but a missed bucket. Simmons has his second.
2, 5.
3.5 minutes gone so far in this sudden death final. Simmons called for the body contact on the hip.
I can't see the other side of me. Okay? I'm just telling you.
Andrew Blahoff complaining about the lack of call on the last drive. Blahoff was quite right. He was hacked. Crouch was the lead referee. It was not his call.
Averaging 70% from the line in the playoffs so far, James Crawford. This is his 41st playoff game tonight. Doesn't get the roll, and the game is tied up at 5 points apiece then. 8.5 to run in the first quarter. And Gaze out to Sibley. Blahoff comes out to meet him. It's back with Gaze. Simmons in the paint, and he's fouled by Hansen.
Pete Hansen's first foul. Simmons will go to the foul line. See if we can pick it up for you. Hansen reaching in, certainly made contact. Simmons on the foul line. Simmons has been a 66% foul shooter throughout the year, and if you cast your mind back to game 2, he missed the front end of a one-on-one situation. Almost gave the Wildcats a chance with half a second to take that ball game away from the Tigers. It's a better start. 7 plays 5. Tigers up by 2.
Grace brings it down. Hansen at the top. Crawford's posting up with Simmons. Grace goes to Hinchin. The bounce pass to Hansen to the top. He's stripped of the ball. He comes back strongly, but Gaze has got too much finesse. He couldn't control it. But the Tigers get the ball back from the side. Dean Templeton is our man working the sidelines. Your early impressions, Dean?
Well, there's a lot of tension down here. There's no doubt both teams are a little bit nervous in this course a cutthroat game. Interesting that the Tigers have gone to a zone early because of the matchup problems that Pete Hansen causes them, as we see another turnover, this time to the Tigers. And this time Ricky Grace goes all the way. As John was saying, I think Ricky Grace is a key to this game. If he can get that penetration and get the break going for the Wildcats, I think they might have a little bit too much depth for the Tigers.
Bit of confidence there from Pete Hansen as well, Dean. Got that defensive rebound and set the fast break running.
Simmons from the foul line, no good. Hansen's second big defensive board. He had a cortisone injection before the game to get himself right. Hinchin through his hands, hasn't had a good series so far. Back out to the top, and Blahoff. It's tied up at 7 apiece, and number 7's got it. Crawford It goes to Hinchin, counting down to about 7 minutes left in the first quarter. Hinchin, Copeland got a hand in there. Shot clock to 10. Hansen's jumper no good. Blahoff lets it go across the baseline, and the Cats come up with the ball from the side.
Came off Sibley's hand. Inbound play now. New 30-second clock. Hinchin puts it up. Drive. Boy, he looks nervous. Nice reverse layup with a little give-and-go play out there. Three-man triangle. Hinchin to Crawford. Andrew Blahoff ran the baseline. Gives the Wildcats the lead.
It's with Giddy. Copeland cuts baseline. That's ignored. Simmons to the left and Gaze. This is Copeland for three over Grace. What a great shot that was from Copeland.
That's a dynamic sound as that ball goes through those cords and makes that swish, and Copeland would be very pleased to hear that. That's the third on Simmons. Simmons, I don't think, has the mobility to hold Blahoff. And, of course, with Hansen back into the lineup, it gives Blahoff the freedom to go out on the floor. And, of course, we'll be very interested to see whether Simmons stays there with 3 fouls. Or is that 2? Only 2, I'm sorry.
Tigers are up by 1. Copeland in the top 10 in steals. He controlled that ball. Goes to Gaze. Simmons through the paint and gets the friendly roll. Lindsay Gaze looking on. 3-point ball game. 12-9. Tigers up. 6.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Should be a terrific game, this. These two teams playing for their season. Copeland. And is it Hansen or Grace called for the block?
Well, it's Hansen called for an illegal screen, an illegal pick. He made the contact as the dribbler went around the top there. Little too much movement. Eddie Crouch has called it. Crouch has had a big impact. I think he's called every foul so far. There's been 2, 4, 7 fouls called so far. 4 against the Tigers, 3 on the Wildcats.
Tigers with the first substitution. Whitehead comes on. Warwick Giddy sits down. Whitehead, 20 points in the game in Perth. Not so good on the second night with just 10. Copeland goes to Whitehead, a good outside shooter. And again, some work done off the ball.
Well, put down number 8. Eddie Crouch, the most experienced official in Australia. There was some controversy surrounding some of the calls and the manner in which they were made on Monday night. They've gone for what must be 1 and 2, and often has been an equal ranking as far as officials go in the Mitsubishi National Challenge. Eddie Crouch and Bill Mildenhall. Travel.
And we've got our first timeout for the night then, with 5:58 left in the first quarter. The Tigers are up by 3. 12 plays 9. Back at the tennis centre, Andrew Gaze called for that travel. The Cats will get the ball from the side when play resumes. It's 12-9. Dave Hancock, Murray Arnold talking to their troops. Of course, as we've said, this is do or die, sudden death. The winner through to the semi-finals. The loser is out. Early going, John?
Well, I think they'd be very happy in the Wildcats camp right now. Hansen seems to be holding up. What about the Tigers, Dean? What's the resolution from their wind-up?
Well, Lindsay Gaze is also very happy, but just something that's happening now. Andrew Gaze must have a cut or something and bleeding. He's screamed out for a Band-Aid, and he's going to be getting some tape. And, of course, with the new blood rule in the NBL, he must get that fixed up very quickly. Another interesting thing out there, John, is that Stephen Whitehead will be guarding Pete Hansen. An obvious mismatch in size and weight, but Lindsay realises that's something different. But when they go to the man-to-man, look out for that one.
Be interesting too to see if Whitehead, as Gaze was, will play to get some offensive fouls on Pete Hansen.
The Cats with possession then. Grace goes to Hansen, works his way close to the bucket. A big reject that by Sibley.
Jumping well, Sibley. Hansen just a trite tentative as he took that drive. There was plenty of space there to go through.
Cats get a new shot clock. Hinchin inbounds to Grace. The skip pass to Blahoff. Baseline is Hinchin. Still without a score so far. Hansen back to Hinchin. Crawford posting up with Simmons. Grace at the top, takes on Whitehead. Grace from close range. He's called for the travel.
Along with 7,000 fans here, they all called the travel. Ricky Grace needs to penetrate, though. He needs to take a few chances in there. Tigers with a comfortable 3-point lead. 5.5 minutes to go before quarter time. Andrew Gaze off to Whitehead. Blahoff on Whitehead.
Well, from close quarters, Whitehead went to give it to Simmons. He didn't put up the shot, and consequently we've got a turnover. Vlahoff, Hinchin left open, doesn't put up the shot, goes to Vlahoff, working strong, but good defence by the Tigers. They bring it down. Gaze with a spinning move. Can't get the layup. It comes Grace's way, grabbed by Gaze, and Gaze will be called for the contact.
Well, it's interesting. You would think a player of Andrew Gaze's outstanding ability and also experience would not fall into the trap of being frustrated. The lack of call on that layup caused the frustration where he tried to slap. So many players do that, and that won't help his cause. Bit of confusion here. It was a one-on-one situation.
One-on-one.
That's 2, 4, 6 fouls to the Tigers, 3 to the Wildcats, and of course once they go past 4, it's penalised by a one-on-one situation, so Ricky Grace has the chance at the other end to penalise Andrew Gaze even further for that foul.
Grace's duel tonight with Copeland having a big bearing, I think, on the outcome. Both players have had their fortune so far in the series.
They've had a great series, both of them.
Second for Grace spins out. Tigers lead by 2, 12-10. And we're inside the 5-minute mark in the first quarter. Crowd still relatively quiet, but around about 6,000 to 7,000 fans. Gaze baseline to Copeland. The fadeaway no good. Slapped away by Simmons. Cats get the ball in the hands of Trevor Torrance, who's on now in place of Hansen.
Torrance did a good job on the boards in game 2. Had picked up 7 rebounds, but it makes the Wildcats relatively small. Be fine if they run. I think they should run with both Hinchin and Torrance.
Here's Grace looking to go all the way. Hands off to Torrance, left open. Shot no good. Strong rebound that by Vlahoff. The hook jumper no good. The Cats get it back. Grace at the top. Goes to Vlahoff, who's working very strong. Double team. Grace, a little pump shot. Now goes to Vlahoff, and that was all net.
That's a good start for Vlahoff. He's been a little tentative. They've been calling for a lot of physical action. He's an aggressive young man, likes to play it tough. The referees have been right on him over here in Melbourne.
Tied up at 12 apiece. Sibley hands off to Copeland. Now the crowd's starting to get involved in this game. Copeland with Whitehead looking to get rid of Grace. For the little dribble by Copeland, the shot doesn't go, but the Tigers get it back. Sibley with the offensive board.
Sibley's done well. Vlahoff matching up with Simmons. Leonard Copeland posting up, but Vlahoff's hand was too quick for the pass. Crawford's open on the break. 3-on-2. Dished off. Hinchin. Nice bucket. That'll help. 14 plays 12. Wildcats up.
3:20 left in the first quarter. Simmons controlled it well. It's Whitehead who's barking the instructions. The pick set by Simmons. Whitehead baseline and Gaze in the paint. Simmons one way, then the other, working against Vlahoff. Good move that by Simmons.
Strong move by Simmons. Looked over one shoulder, reversed with the dribble on the other. Nice little reverse jump shot. Ties the scores.
Tempo starting to pick up now. 2:50 left in the opening quarter. A low-scoring start, 14 points apiece. Here's Grace through the keyway. What a move that was from Ricky Grace.
Well, that's a good move from Grace. He needs to put the ball to the floor, and I'm sure he can penetrate. Tigers subbing a little more freely out there, Dean.
Yes, I think Nigel Purchase is coming on for Robert Sibley there, John. Yeah, I think at this stage in the half court, the Melbourne Tigers are really struggling, and credit that to the Wildcats defence.
Purchase hasn't seen a lot of time in the series. The Tigers
put that down to the Andrew Gaze offense. Removes the defense very easily, makes a lot of space without the ball, comes up with an uncontested layup. Tied once more. 16 apiece. 2 minutes 20. Hinchin with the reverse layup. That's good.
Hinchin with 2 11-point games. Shot the ball poorly by his standards in the first 2, but a good start by him. Here's Copeland. Great move that by the Tigers, combining well, and it's tied up at 18 apiece again.
Last 2 times down the floor, the offense of the Tigers has got people free. Gaze, then Copeland for layups.
Hinchin with 4. Torrance thought about the shot. Hinchin from 3-point territory, no good. Vlahoff really controlled it. It comes out Gaze's way, and he sends it to his backcourt partner in Copeland, who pulls up. In the background, you can see Lindsay Gaze, the veteran Tigers coach. There's his son, Andrew. What a player he's been. This is for 3. Do you mind from downtown? No good. Simmons, the quick pass to Purchase, who didn't want to take the shot. He backs out, and it's against Grace.
Well, that's not Purchase's role. He's not the scorer in this team. Little backdoor play there, little backdoor cut. Eye contact as Copeland went backdoor, and Ricky Grace pinged for holding as the guy cut to the bucket. This man will shoot from three-point territory, though.
Simmons gets another chance. This time he goes back out to Gaze. He takes on Crawford. He goes looking for Simmons. Down in the keyway is Blahoff. Simmons has got 2.
Well, a lot of contact under there. Blahoff hasn't said anything. He's got up and walked away from it. Tigers in front by 2 within the last minute of the first quarter.
Grace, the skip pass to Hinchin. He goes to the bounce pass from Crawford, and they turn it over to the Wildcats. That was the problem for them in game 2.
Yeah, the turnover rate was far in excess of the Tigers. I think it was something like 23-14.
In the hands of Whitehead, who backs Crawford to the basket. The turnaround jumper rims out from Torrance. The defensive board, and Grace is away now. We've got 38 seconds left in the quarter. Hinchin with Purchase trying to get a hand in there. Torrance at the top. Crawford, he likes this range. This is for 2, and the shot is good.
He would have liked that range in game 2 if it had have dropped. Last shot under a lot of pressure, just rimmed out. That one dropped. All squared up. This is the 3rd time they've been squared up. 18 seconds. Will the Tigers run it down, or will we see that emphatic alley-oop play that they pulled off in game 2 just before half-time? Where's Copeland?
Well, Grace is right beside him. Shot clock and the game clock now down to 5. Back out to Copeland. He fires for 3. There's a foul against Grace.
Well, in unison, both officials called it.
15. Hey, putting on the elbow.
Leonard Copeland will go to the foul line. He'll be the judge, just in the armpit.
3 shots.
Gets 3 opportunities to make what he could have got.
The second
big foul. Already has 5. Could put the Tigers up by 3. First one's good.
77% this year from the line. Leonard Copeland, he's first in the NBL. The league's 3rd leading scorer, just under 700 points to 29 per game. Now that clock, John, that is what, 0.8 of a second left?
I suspect it has to be after game 2. While it doesn't read that, I suspect that's what it's saying.
The Tigers out to a 3-point lead then, so as soon as the ball is handled by the inbound pass, Blahoff over half court to Torrance over his head.
Well, of course, what that does...
The clock hasn't stopped, it hasn't started.
That's right, and as the ball didn't touch anybody in bounds, possession is given to the Tigers adjacent to the baseline all the way down, and they've now got the same time as the Wildcats had to increase their lead.
Whitehead for 3, not on target, and it's quarter time then in game 3 of the quarterfinal playoff between the Wildcats and the Tigers. A grueling start. The Tigers are up by 3, 23-20. Gaze has 7, while for the Wildcats, a good spread there. Grace with 7, Crawford 5, Hinchin 4, and Blahoff 4.
Well, very even right now, isn't it? You can only say that that indiscreet foul by Ricky Grace is the difference between the first quarter. Very tentative start by both clubs out there. Be interesting to see how they come back after quarter time. What do you think, Dean Templeton?
Yeah, very tentative start, I believe, John, and also the officiating seems a lot tighter than it did in game 2 on Monday night, and probably from Friday night, which I didn't see. Interesting also to note that only 3 scorers for the Tigers and only 4 scorers for the Wildcats. I think both teams need to share the ball around a bit.
They're not shooting very well, either club. The Tigers are at 40%, the Wildcats at 42. Playoffs tend to be a little bit of a dour struggle on the way through. Maybe they'll warm up to it in this quarter.
Crawford wins the opening tip, and we're underway in the second quarter. Blahoff was double-teamed. He goes to Hansen. Hansen and Gaze. Knocked to the hands of Hansen with big second effort. Gets it back out. Gaze hit the floor. No call. Grace has it. Now Blahoff thought about the three-pointer. Kept off the ball. Hansen and Gaze were tangled up, and Hansen's been called for the foul.
Well, Pete Hansen's been called for his 3rd foul for holding. There's no doubt there was a lot of contact. I suspect that Crouch let it go for a long time, and he's been held for holding. You take the judge. Lindsay Gaze wouldn't be too happy with that little situation underneath. Andrew Gaze certainly with a lot of contact. Maybe that ploy of putting Andrew Gaze on Hansen may be working.
Got Chris Carroll out there for the Wildcats, who have Hansen, Crawford, Lahoff and Grace. Here's Gaze baseline, doesn't get the roll. Hansen with a rebound.
That's a great backdoor cut there. Wait until his defence turned the eyes just a little bit and went to the bucket.
Grace to the foul line, working against Copeland. The shot was in then out. Big effort by Hansen, gets the two, draws the foul, and he'll go to the line for the bonus.
Well, the most significant part of that play was that Hansen seems to be okay. Got the 2 points, good effort. Second effort goes up, Whitehead reaches in. Boy, that was fairly soft too, but it was certainly a touch.
Hansen with a chance to tie the ball game up then at 23 apiece. Doesn't go for him. And the Tigers lead then 23-22. 11-11 left in the second quarter. Copeland to the top and Purchase. Gaze with Carroll, the job on him. Well, that's a big task for the rookie.
Chris Carroll, first time on the court tonight against Andrew Gaze. Big task, as you say. Be interesting to see how he handles it. Copeland drives to the elbow of the keyway, finds the front of the rim. Simmons keeps it alive, and Copeland gets it back.
Here's Purchase with the drive for the paint. Simmons looking to tip it in. Didn't go, but a big second effort. He slapped it back out the Tigers' way. And Melbourne get yet another possession. They've been down there 3 times. Gaze and Carroll. Gaze with the dribble. Simmons sets the screen. Gaze looking to make space. Goes the bounce pass to Purchase. One way, then the other. This is Whitehead. Fake pump. Simmons. Shot clock to 10 now. Purchase. The shot from close range. No good. And Blahoff the board. Races away. Here's Crawford. Crawford wastes no time. Pulls the trigger for 2. And the Cats are back in front by 1.
Enough freedom and enough time for James Crawford. Can't give him that sort of space.
24 plays 23. Low scoring affair. Dow struggles so far. Copeland, Whitehead, an outside specialist. And that's for 3.
Well, had 6 3-pointers in game 1. Blahoff out on Whitehead has been taken a long way from the backboard, but he comes back and neutralises the 3-pointer with one of his own.
Blahoff has 7. Here's Copeland over Blahoff. No good. And Crawford gets the rebound. The rebound count fairly even. 14-12 favouring the Wildcats. Here's Grace. Carroll from the baseline. That was for 2. No good. Blahoff gets it down, but only as far as Simmons.
It's a good shot from Carroll. Looked good from the time it left his hand. Just a little bit flat. Looks to me as if the Wildcats are getting a lot of freedom on their transition game. I think the Tigers will be concerned about that. Copeland's lunging at the ball, letting the man go around.
Whitehead for another throw. Thank you very much.
Well, you would think that somewhere over the last 4 or 5 days, the Wildcats would have made the adjustment to Whitehead and set him to put the ball to the floor each time.
Well, he got 4 3-pointers in the third quarter of the game in Perth. Not so prominent in that second game where he finished with 10, but he can hurt from outside. He's got 6 now. The Tigers lead by 2. 29-27 on the clock. There's 8:56 to run, as you can see, in the second quarter. So the trading basket so far. Here's Blahoff. Hands off to Hansen. Strong move baseline. Couldn't put it away, though. And the Tigers bring it down the floor. Let's go to Dean Templeton. He's got some comments from the side.
Pete Hansen was a bit stiff then, as we see. Whitehead again. That's 3 in a row for Stephen Whitehead from 3-point land. A couple of substitutions here. JC coming out, Steve Davis going in for the Wildcats, and Robert Sibley taking his place back in the game for Nigel Purchase.
Grace goes to Hansen, who's surrounded by red and gold singlets. They turn it over. Simmons very strong on the baseline. Here's Whitehead, who's setting the crowd alight. Gaze with the jumper. This is for 3 again, no good. And Davis, who's on, gets the board. And down comes Grace now. It's 3 on 3. Blahoff around Gaze. He's been booked for the travel.
Well, things not going the way that the Wildcats would want it. Trailing by 5. Perhaps the substitutions being made now. Copeland sits down. Ray Gordon comes in. I suspect we may well get a timeout. That's exactly what has happened. Murray Arnold needs to regroup. He wants to just stabilise his troops. The scoreline favours the Tigers by 5, 32-27, 8 minutes before half-time.
man is hurting the Perth Wildcats. 3 3-pointers in the second quarter. He's 3 from 5 from outside, and the Tigers are up by 5, 32-27. That timeout was called by Murray Arnold. Here's Dean Templeton.
Yeah, I think it was a good timeout by Murray Arnold. The Tigers were starting to get that crowd back into the game, and Whitehead, of course, was on a bit of a roll. Lindsay Gaze, from his point of view, he's pretty happy. Of course, he wants to maintain the defensive pressure and keep running the ball. From Murray Arnold's point of view, I think he just wants to regroup, start pumping the ball inside the JC again, I believe, and just to get their composure back.
Interesting if we look at the stats from the three-point situation. The Tigers at 42% as a team, exactly what they've been doing over Game 1 and Game 2. Wildcats would be concerned. They've got to really get out to somebody like Whitehead. I'm a bit concerned about the matchup with Blahoff and Whitehead. It's taking him well away from the keyway where he can rebound. Substitution for the Wildcats. Watterson comes in. Grace takes his first break.
The Cats have Davis, Watterson, Blahoff, Crawford and Hinchin out there. Melbourne going with Simmons, who's posting up with Blahoff. There's Sibley, Whitehead, Gordon and Gaze. It's with Vince Hinchin, who has 4. Blahoff can't get it to go, and Sibley the rebound. Gordon gives it to Gaze, and the Tigers bring it down. They're up by 5. Well, there's Whitehead, the danger man.
There's the adjustment we talked of. Eric Watterson's now on Whitehead. That's a much better matchup. Whitehead tends to be a great shooter from three-point range, but he also needs a little time to set himself. Watterson should be able to get to him. Blahoff came from behind Simmons there. Got a hand of the ball, but only succeeded in putting it out.
The Tigers with just 8 seconds on the shot clock to put up the shot. 7:20 left in the second half, or the second quarter rather, in the first half. Gordon gives it to Gaze. Hinchin looking to track him. Gordon goes to Whitehead, who's double teamed. Gordon's left open. He goes to the foul line, and that shot was after the 10-second warning. In fact, when the shot clock had run down, it didn't count. So the Tigers turned the ball over.
There was a situation in Game 2 where the Tigers got a new 30-second clock. They didn't get it that time, and they only had a limited time to get it up and ran out of options. Turned the ball over.
Watterson, Hinchin, low post, and Blahoff. He's working against Giddy. Gave it to Blahoff on the way through.
Whitehead should come up with this foul, I suspect. Where will they call it?
3.
Stephen
Whitehead, they put it side ball. Well, you be the judge of this. Blahoff has it. Oh dear.
It's in the hands of Blahoff. He goes looking for Hinchin, who was held by Gaze, wasn't seen, and a turnover, and the Tigers come up with it from the side.
Well, 32 plays 27. A lot of effort for little score.
Tigers well down on their season average in this first round of the playoffs. Here's Whitehead working against Davis. Steve has called for that foul. Steve Davis.
Steve Davis' first foul. It's 7 fouls as a total for the Wildcats. 2, 4, 6, 8 for the Tigers. That's the second team foul for both, as you can see it going through there on replay.
So the game stagnant at the present time. Still 32-27. The Tigers are up. Whitehead, Simmons to the elbow. The jumper comes up short, and it's slapped away, and the Wildcats come up with the ball from the side despite the call from Steve Whitehead. Watterson, the outlet pass to Hinchin, who likes to run with a clever dribble opposed to Gaze. Where will he go? To the top, and Watterson. Low scoring game this. Crawford's double team, goes to the foul line. Hinchin left open from the baseline, and that drop.
Well, that's the first clean shot he's got since the last minutes of Game 2 when he sunk a couple. See if he can go on with it from now as Andrew Gaze goes around and dishes the ball up to Sibley. Crawford had gone to help out, left his feet, was in no man's land. Really had to commit to the help. Got a score correction, 34 plays 30. 6 minutes to go in this quarter, 6 minutes before halftime.
Points hard to come by then. Low scoring affair. Watterson to Hinchin. Working against Gaze. Watterson across court. Torrance from the baseline. This is for 3. No good. Hinchin over the back of Gaze. No call. Hinchin, the fadeaway jumper is good.
Insult to injury. Vince Hinchin with his second successive bucket for the Wildcats. Brings his total now to 9.
It's a marked improvement from what he Did in the first 2 games, shooting at 57%. Here's Gordon through the paint.
Oh.
Reject by Crawford in the top 3 in the league in block
Oh, well
shots.
done, Watterson.
He's got Hinchin down the other end, and Hinchin makes an emphatic 2-handed jam.
Put that down to courage from Eric Watterson. Went right through the extended arm of Ray Gordon. Created the lead. Hinchin got the dunk.
Tied up, 34 apiece. Cats coming back. Whitehead for 3. That's his 4th for the quarter.
Well, Peter, we watched him at practice here today. He stayed back after the Tigers had left and worked at his range shooting, and that worked for him. Sits down now for a well-earned rest. No, still there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's with Hinchin. The Tigers living from the 3-point range at the present time. Here's Gray, speaking of 3-pointers. That was short. Sibley, the strong board. Well done, Robert Sibley. Big-time player. He needs support and he goes to Simmons, and that earns a rousing reception from the crowd here. Strong effort from Sibley.
Ton of playoff experience, Robert Sibley, with the Bullets before this year. Boy, there's another long-range shot. Torrance a little closer. What have we got? 3 on 3, 4 on 3.
Crawford pulls up from 18 feet and Gaze gets the defensive board. Now, he loves to run. He's got 2 to beat. Copeland's to his left. He gets rid of Hansen.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. Dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. No way in the world I'd call that a block. I'm sorry, Eddie. Let's see if we can pick it up. Well, he's moving, but so is Grace moving. Sorry, not Grace, Gaze. Let's see what Dean Templin's got to say.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough call. Pete Hansen really hasn't had the best of it tonight, but he's still in the ball game. Mike Ellis making his way back into the game, or into the game for the first time, seeing action for the first time in Melbourne, I believe.
Yes, on this road trip. Didn't play in the second game here on Monday night. Here's Copeland. Spectacular move. Doesn't go. Gaze working hard there, and Crawford is called for the contact against Gaze.
Andrew Gaze back on the foul line where he has been so successful. Good offensive board. Went up for the shot.
Last one.
Brings up the 4th team foul for the Wildcats. That sound that the opposition have come to dread when Andrew Gaze is on the foul line.
In the series, Sean, he's 16 from 17 before tonight, and that always does it.
Fixed him right up, didn't we?
So it's 4 points then, Tigers' way, 38-34, just over 4 minutes left in the first half. Blahoff and Sibley. Blahoff working strong, and Sibley ends up for the foul.
Sibley walking underneath him there. Blahoff really didn't have very many options. He's almost behind the backboard here. Sibley really walks underneath him.
What about this low scoring affair, 38-34? Would you have picked that?
Well, I think I would have picked it for the first quarter. I'm surprised that they haven't run a little bit more, but I suspect that Mariano doesn't like the running game, but I think tonight he may have to resort to it. Tigers, on the other hand, have played a very quick up-tempo transition game for most of the year. It's surprising to see them slowing it down. Their half-court offense struggles at times.
Tigers are up by 2, 38-36. Blahoff has 9 now. Here's Simmons. He's having a very good game. Shot no good. Blahoff gets the board. Now the Cats have the numbers with 3 Tigers in the backcourt. Grace from the foul line likes to go all the way. Doesn't put it away. And they should have done better with that, Perth. They have the numbers down there.
Andrew Blahoff's timing seems to be out just a little bit. These rings are fairly forgiving and the ball's staying on top of them for a fair while. Warwick Giddy comes in. What do we got there from the Tigers, Dean?
Yeah, a couple of substitutions. We see Robert Sibley making his way back in, as well as Warwick Giddy, so they've gone back to their starting lineup.
Your man, busy in there, Sean.
Well, there's a lot of fouls going to be called in this game. Ricky Grace, that's his 3rd. Grace has 3, Hansen has 4. The rest of the Wildcats in reasonable shape.
1-1.
The Tigers, Giddy has 2, Simmons 2, and Whitehead 2. A couple of ones up there, but nothing to worry about.
Bernard Copeland coming off a 30-point game on Monday night. Gets his 9th point tonight, and he's 100% from the foul line. Looking at that matchup between Grace and Copeland. Copeland with 10 now. Grace has 7. And it's the Tigers up by 4, 40-36, 3:20 Left in the half. It's with Mike Ellis. He goes to Hinchin, left open for 3. Not bad time. Blahoff one-handed, couldn't control it. Comes Gaze's way. And the champ brings it down the floor, gets rid of Ellis. And that's a charge against Gaze.
Well, Billy Mildenhall was in direct line to call lateral contact. Lindsay Gaze doesn't believe it. You be the judge. It's not a great angle for you, but you can see that Mike Ellis hasn't moved. Now, maybe he took a dive. This is a better angle. Gaze spins. Ellis still hasn't moved. Gaze has created the contact.
Lindsay Gaze, the father, hands in the pockets. Been around a long time, Lindsay Gaze, and so is this man, Eric Watterson. Played 28 playoff games. Blahoff posting up again with Simmons. Elects not to put up the shot. Hinchin in the face of Gaze. It comes back Blahoff's way. Shot clock to 10 now. Hinchin from the foul line. It's short. Crawford, the offensive board, and what a move that was. Getting the two, working the glass then.
Hinchin withheld that shot.
Over 2 exciting nights.
He was looking to dish the ball off to Crawford. The options closed for him. Crawford did it off the backboard.
Crawford has 9. The Tigers up by 2, 40-38. Here's Simmons. And Simmons with the easy 2.
Little finger roll as he went across the layup. 42-38 in favour of the Tigers. 2 minutes, 22 seconds before half-time in this sudden death best-of-3 series, culminating in a team that will go on to the semis. Another team will see their season finish.
In the hands of the skipper for the Wildcats, Ellis, he went to Watterson. Now Hinchin with 11. Shot clock to 8. And Simmons comes up with another foul. How many's that now with Blahoff going to the line?
Should be 3. 3 fouls. A lot of big bodies out there, isn't there? You can see Blahoff's calling for the ball. Simmons is caught behind. Blahoff's pinning him, but the contact is caused as Simmons tries to gamble and reach across the top.
We've got Simmons sitting down for the first time tonight. Blahoff's at the line. He has 9. Wildcats and Tigers, their record in elimination finals. The Tigers are 2-7. They're yet to win a series. They've been in the last 3 but haven't gone through. Perth in elimination finals is 7-2.
How's the Tigers bench over there, Dino?
I think they'd be reasonably happy, but as you say, it's a very low-scoring affair, and I think the first team that breaks the shackles and starts to run the ball a bit, gets away from the defence, might be able to break open a decent lead.
It's a 2-point ball game. Copeland went looking for Sibley off the feet.
You put the foot out, you hooked it with your foot.
Well, you can clearly hear Eddie Crouch explaining that James Crawford was adjudged to have put his foot out and made contact with the ball. That becomes a violation. Let's see if we can pick it up for you here. Goes down, hits the floor. Oh dear, oh dear. I think James Crawford was a long way away from it.
Here's Copeland. Watterson with the job on him at the present time. Gaze for 3. What a shot that was from Gaze.
Gaze and Whitehead put them together. One has hit 2 from 5, the other 4 from 7. You've got 6 from 12 from 3-point range.
Watterson. Now, Blahoff. Gaze with the steal. Gaze looking to take it all the way. Gets rid of Watterson, makes the layup.
IG does that so well in a one-on-one situation. Biggest lead of the ball game. Reduced at the other end. Lenarden comes in. By gee, there's no big pardons out there. Lenarden simply said then to Hinchin, you're not going to get this one, old fella. There you can see it. Lumpy Lenarden on the court for the first time for the Tigers.
So Hinchin with much more confidence tonight. Let's have a look what he's done so far in the playoffs. Game 1. Hinchin 11 points, 3 from 16, 19% from the field. Game 2, 11 points, 5 from 17 at 29%. Now he's got 13 tonight, shooting at 50%, and he's 100% from the line. So a much better performance, and they needed that from Hinchin. It's a 5-point ball game. Tigers in front by 5. They're living from outside at the present time. Gaze has it. Gaze goes to
Well, how often this year is that man Andrew Gaze ignited a crowd when he's thrown the long alley-oop pass into Leonard Copeland with springs in the calves. Copeland keeps on going up, hangs on the rim, and all of a sudden it's a 49 scoreline to 42 in favour of the Tigers, and this crowd loves it, and they've become a factor. Bernard Copeland with 13 points.
The Cats need a steadying basket here. They're down by 8. 48 seconds left in the half. Hinchin, can he provide it? That was for 3. No good. Watterson swoops on it. Cats get the ball back again. It should go back the Tigers' way, though. We've got 38 seconds left in the half and 23 on the shot clock. Watterson, Lahoff calls for it low post. They go back to the top. We've got a timeout with 31.7 seconds left in the first half. They've called a timeout. The Tigers are up by 8, 50 to 42.
Well, with 31 seconds, well, almost 32 seconds before half-time, let's set it for you. Both teams are in the team foul situation. Wildcats will have 31 seconds on the game clock and 19 seconds on the shot clock. They are trailing by 8 points.
Let's check some of the scorers then. The Wildcats, Hinchin leads their scoring with 13. Blahoff has 11 as we watch Lindsay Gaze and son Andrew. And for the Tigers, Gaze has 13, Copeland 13, Whitehead 12. He's been very good from outside. 4 from 7, 4 3-pointers in this quarter. And Simmons has been a bonus with 10. Well, Dean Templeton's just behind the Wildcats huddle. What's the message from Murray Arnold?
Well, I just think he's just trying to get the guys to settle down. There's no danger now. It's only an 8-point lead, and that's certainly, as we know in basketball, easily overtaken. But of course, that last alley-oop got the crowd involved, gets the emotions up, and when you're the away team, you want to keep that at its lowest depth. So I think a good timeout by Murray Arnold, just to settle things down for the last 30 seconds, maybe score a couple of hoops, a good stop down in there in the defence, and they might be able to narrow this to 4 points.
Well, let's see what they've come out of the huddle with. They have 19 seconds on the shot clock. Plenty of time to set up a good play. Both teams in the team foul penalty situation. So I think the Wildcats will be looking to go inside. A little bit of a power game. Crawford and Blahoff across the keyway. Watterson pulls it up. Crawford leads. Blahoff with the ball. The Narden bellies up. And the Wildcats have almost lost it. Tie-up situation. By gee, this very close, clean defence from the Tigers has paid dividends all series. They're getting up and really taking away the lateral movement from the Wildcats, and the Wildcats are struggling somewhat to beat it.
Wait, Bill.
So we've got Lahoff with a height advantage over Giddy for this jump ball. There's 16.6 seconds left in the half.
Well, the controversy here is who should be jumping.
Yeah, but with what red? What red?
No question, Blahoff should be there.
Blahoff's there. Lenard's brought in now. That evens up the height ratio.
Important jump here. The Cats would love to get possession. They should. It comes to Hinchin. So with 14 seconds in the half, the Wildcats with the chance to have the last play. Crawford in the corner. 8 seconds left. Watterson thought about the three-pointer. Hinchin at the foul line. It's left for the skipper. This is for 3. And that's a captain's bucket. Well done to Mike Ellis. And it's half-time in Game 3 of the elimination final. The Wildcats needed that triple provided by Mike Ellis. So at half-time, Melbourne up by 5. 50 to the Wildcats, 45. Very important bucket that by Mike Ellis. So at half-time, it's 50 to 45. The Tigers up by 5. I guess, John, without fear of contradiction, it's been the three-point shooting of the Tigers that have given them that 5-point lead.
Oh, without any doubt. Stephen Whitehead, 4 3-pointers. He's scored 6 3-pointers in Game 1. He's really had a little hiatus in the middle, and he's come back with a great vengeance. And what a great bucket from Mike Ellis. Hasn't seen any minutes to talk about. A captain's three-pointer right on the bell.
A very low-scoring affair, really, particularly the first, 14, 16 minutes of that first half.
Well, final nerves. Neither of these clubs wants to finish their season at this point. They're determined to stay out there. Very low-key, as you say, Peter, and basically both clubs searching to get some sort of momentum going.
You've got to hand it to Melbourne. They've been very gritty. A lot of people gave them no chance at all in this quarter-final series, and yet they find themselves in the third and deciding game 5 points up.
Yes, and comfortably 5 points up as well. Even though 5 points is very, very little margin to skate about, they've done it well. They've come up with the uncontested layups when it suited them, and they're not being thrashed about on the backboards.
Vince Hinchin, 13 points. You've got to hand it to Vince how he's bounced back tonight.
Well, he has, and he's shot much better. But they need a lot more from him at the moment. Andrew Blahoff's quiet. Hanson's struggling out there in foul trouble. Mike Ellis, he may hold the key. Who knows?
Okay, well, the Tigers led by 3 at quarter time. They're up by 5 at half time. Here's the match stats.
Well, if we pick up the stats for you, the score you're well aware of. Shooting percentage is down for both clubs, and they wouldn't really be happy with that at 42. Put that down to final nerves and playoff problems. The foul shooting situation very much favours the Tigers, as it has all throughout the series. And as we made mention earlier, the Wildcats, who should or would be expected to dominate the backboards, are only just in front.
Okay, let's have a look at the individual scorers at the end of the half-time break. And for the Tigers, Gaze with 13. Copeland has 13 as well. They're the two danger men. Whitehead, 12. He got 20 in game 1, 12 to the half in game 3. He's been a man that they haven't been able to counter so far. Simmons with 10. That's a bit of a bonus for the Tigers. And Sibley has 2. While for the Wildcats, as we mentioned, Hinchin back in form tonight with 13. Blahoff doing a great job again at both ends.
Well, he's trying hard, Andrew Blahoff, but by his own standards, he would be a little bit disappointed, because basically he wants more out of this playoff. Very closely matched out there, closely attended. The referee's not giving him a lot of latitude either.
John, let's talk about the second half then. Where does the game go from here?
Well, I think it's more of the same, quite frankly, Peter. More of the same, particularly when you come down to the shooting and the defence. That will decide it.
Okay, thanks very much then, John. So half-time in game 3 of the quarter-final series between the Wildcats and the Tigers. Melbourne are up by 5, 50 plays 45. Now it's time for our Mitsubishi Slam Dunk competition. It's your chance to win some great prizes. Here's the details.
It's the Mitsubishi Slam Dunk Competition of the Year, where you could be the lucky winner of this magnificent Mitsubishi SE Magna station wagon. For your chance to win this great Mitsubishi car, just put our 4 Slam Dunks of the Year in the order you think our expert judges will, and the car could be yours. Dunk A is a reverse slam by Dwayne McLean from the match between the Kings and the Wildcats. Our second dunk, Dunk B, stars Chris Harris from the Geelong Supercats in their match at the Snake Pit against the Illawarra Hawks. Dunk C stars Andre Moore in the clash between the Brisbane Bullets and the Canberra Cannons in Brisbane. And finally, Dunk D is Leonard Copeland from the Melbourne Tigers versus Illawarra Hawks game. On the back of an envelope, place the dunks in the order you think our judges will. And send your entry to the Mitsubishi Slam Dunk Competition, Post Office Box 24, Broadway, 2007. Entries close on Thursday, the 29th of October. It's your chance to be a winner. Just be part of 10's basketball action right here on Network 10.
And back at the Tennis Centre, the second half in this game 3 of the quarter-final series between Melbourne Tigers and the Perth Wildcats. As you can see, the Tigers up by 5, 50 to 45. At this rate, John, the Wildcats heading for 90 points in the game. Is that going to be enough to win it?
Well, 94 wasn't enough in game 2. I think they do need a lot more. And I'd hate to harp on it. I think they need to run the ball down the floor. Just let the reins hang loose for a little while and push it down, because their half-court game is being stymied somewhat by some very close and clinging defence by the Tigers. And, of course, they've still got the problem in getting out to the three-point shooters of the Melbourne Tigers. Andrew Gaze out there, 2 from 5, and Whitehead, 4 from 7. In total, 7 from 15. They're shooting at 47%. The Tigers, that is, from three-point range, which is well in excess of their shots close to the bucket, because overall they're only shooting 42.
But the season on the line then for both these two clubs. A do-or-die Elimination final, and we're underway in the second half. Crawford won the tip. They couldn't control it, and it's Simmons who brings it down. Lightning past that to Sibley. What a good assist from Simmons. And the first bucket of the second half goes to the Tigers.
Well, that just about equals the biggest break of the game so far. It's 7 in favour of the Tigers. That's a good start for them, particularly when you consider Crawford won the tap. That's an offensive foul. Andrew Blahoff, not having the happiest of games, has 11 points and 5 rebounds. That now becomes his second foul. And the worst part about that, of course, it's an offensive foul. Coaches love the situation when the defense come up with that sort of bonus, because it's 2 points that the opposition really doesn't get to take, 2 they can make at the other end.
Giddy went inside, chopped off by the Cats. Away comes Blahoff. He has Grace to his right. Grace for the layup. Good running move that from Grace and Blahoff, and they get it back to 5.
Well, that's about the way the margins have been all night. Each club's been able to reply when somebody's come up with a nice play.
The Wildcats' record on this court isn't good. They're 0-3. In fact, in Melbourne, they're 0-4. Copeland from long range. That was for 2.
Well, he's found plenty of space there, Copeland. Nailed the nice jumper just inside the three-point lane. There's Grace with a good drive on the left hand. Like to see him do more of it. Good drive, knifing to the bucket. I think he's too quick for Copeland.
The low-scoring first half, but the points are flowing freely now. Gaze with another three-pointer, and it's an 8-point spread. The Tigers 57, the Wildcats 49. They're trading baskets.
That won't do the Wildcats' cause any good. It will certainly help the Tigers, because that's the sort of game they like.
They're one down in their front half. The Wildcats. Crawford doing a bootlace. He's back down there now, and Hinchin has the ball. He's double-teamed. Hinchin to the foul line, goes to Gray, shot clock to 10. They go to Hansen over his head. Crawford backing up, but he was caught for the travel then.
The worry I have for the Wildcats is their offense doesn't look fluent. Hansen was open in that situation from the pick and roll right from the time it was executed. Nobody could find him the ball.
So Gaze, who has 16 tonight, goes to Giddy, who's scoreless. Gaze to the foul line. They've put up a wall. Sibley back out to Giddy. Giddy thought about Copeland, goes to Simmons. Simmons from close range. That was for 2, no good. Crawford brings down the rebound over the top, reaching in Sibley.
Sibley's second foul, reaching over the top. Crawford had the inside position. By G. Dean Templeton, we made mention of how each game's been refereed in a different stance, a different tempo. This one's certainly different from the last 2.
Yeah, it seems to be not quite as physical. Still a hard game, but it's hard for the players. Hansen inside, a strong move, and there was a bit of contact even there, but wasn't called. I think it's hard for the players to adjust, but that's the ball game, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, they've got to make the adjustments out there. The referees are going to continue playing the way they have.
Gaze for 3 again, and it drops. Well, they're living from outside the Tigers, and they're making the Wildcats pay. It's 60-51. The Tigers up by 9.
Well, Copeland not happy with that. Reached around, made contact, stripped the ball, but you must get all ball, not necessarily arm as well. Would have been a dynamic dunk, I can promise you that. Leading by 9, he would have rammed it in, but he didn't get the chance.
Grace and Copeland at it again. What a duel they're having. Hinchin in the face of Gaze. Hinchin backs away. The bounce pass to Crawford. Posting up Sibley and Hansen. Crawford, the jumper, rings out. And it's the Tigers' ball from the side. Blahoff doesn't like it.
Neither does Hansen. Claims it came off a Tigers ball. Hansen remonstrating with Eddie Crouch. He won't get any change from that. Not a lot of movement in the Wildcats' offense. Need to put the ball through several sets of hands and have people moving.
Tigers, 1 game 2 of the playoffs here by 1 point. They've got the ball back from the side. Game 1 in Perth, John, went Perth's way by 8.
Well, 8-9 in the last 2 games is the margin. Here we have the Tigers up by 9. Make that 11.
Now Copeland has 17, Gaze 19. The Tigers 62 points, another turnover. Gaze is on the break. Gaze looking to go all the way, makes the layup. And all of a sudden this deficit looking dangerous out to 13. 64-51. Mariano forced to call a timeout with 8.5 minutes left in the third quarter. The Tigers up by 13.
I wish I...
The danger signs for the Wildcats now. They're down by 13, 64-51. Andrew Gaze and Leonard Copeland doing the damage in the third quarter. Gaze has 21 points now, Copeland 17, and Perth need a basket on this trip down the floor. Grace, knowing that, goes to Crawford. Inside is Blahoff. The basket or the shot won't count, and the Cats will go, I think, to the side with the ball.
Number 25, Simmons comes up with another one. That's his third. See the contact. Whenever Blahoff posts up there and pins the man and they can get the entry from the top, he's going to go to the bucket or get a foul. But they've been far too few tonight.
Blahoff, this is for 3.
It's a better one. That helps the cause. 10 points the difference.
Blahoff with 14 now. Sibley, we've got 8 minutes, just over 8 minutes left in this third quarter. Giddy, Copeland calling for it. Giddy back to the top. Where will he go? To Sibley. Sibley from the foul line. The turnaround jumper, no good. Hanson the rebound, and now Perth the chance to bridge this deficit.
They need a basket this time down the floor. Andrew Blahoff just slightly closer to the baseline than last time. Wasn't able to come up with the same results, though. Margin remains the same. 7.5 minutes before three-quarter time.
Here's Gaze. He's been dangerous from there. Dropped to the floor, no call. And now the Wildcats bring it down. Grace, the big outlet pass. Blahoff goes to Hinchin. Crawford, unattended. Crawford, the gentle dunk.
See, they just got away with that. Giddy did a great job of getting back. Gaze was flat on his back after the shot. Had 3-on-2, 3-on-1 in their favour. They came up with a conversion. 8 points the difference now. 7 minutes. 5 minutes already gone in the third quarter as Hanson comes up with a big defensive board. Giddy reaches across the top. Giddy comes up with his third foul. You watch it here on replay. There it is, straight down. Giddy complaining about it. Boy, I guess you got to try.
The Tigers on this court are 10-3, including the victory on Monday night. Crawford working against Giddy, goes baseline, and Giddy's called for another foul.
Well, that'll make it 4 for Giddy. Trying to isolate with Crawford, low on the baseline, just near the second rebound mark there, slightly out from that. He goes baseline. Slight contact, but there was contact there. Crawford took him one-on-one. For his rewards, Giddy sits down. Just under 7 minutes before three-quarter time. And that three-point maestro, Whitehead on the floor.
Crawford from the line gets the first. Now Crawford has 12 tonight, as we said. It's an outstanding series. Opening night, 29 points. Second night, 31 points. He gets the second here, so it's back to a respectable 6 now. Tigers 64, the Wildcats 58. 6 3/4 minutes left in the third quarter. Dean from the sidelines.
Yeah, a lack of organisation by the Tigers. They really get in that lead and they don't know what they're going to do. Whitehead goes to the soup flip stop, makes the basket, and Hanson draws his number 5. That's his 5th foul. But the Tigers have to run, and you can see Lindsay Gaze during that last series really exhorting his players to run the ball.
Well, Blahoff gave up the baseline. Hanson left his feet, came off the floor. Always was going to get the foul in that situation, even though he'll claim he jumped straight up. Blahoff's first error. He can go on the base then. Whitehead on the foul line.
Gets the bonus. So it's back out to 9 points then, 58-67. 6.5 minutes left in the quarter. Hinchin double team. Goes to Grace. Blahoff to Torrance. Blahoff gets to the foul line. Hands off to Hinchin. This is for 2. No good. Torrance slaps it back out, but only to Simmons. The Tigers on the break now. Sibley pulls up. Grace with the steal. Well done, Ricky Grace. Goes to Hinchin. Hinchin goes back to Grace. Grace from close range. Went to bang it off the glass. It didn't go. Hinchin was desperate. Crawford left it for Grace. Misunderstanding there. Well, it's a Tigers ball.
It's a foul on Grace, on Crawford, I would think. Little indecision there. Crawford wanted Grace to go for the ball. Grace expected Crawford being closer to get it. As the ball went to the sideline, Crawford has held back Andrew Gaze, and that's why he's been fouled.
Well, every play facet important now. Still a long time to go inside the 6-minute mark. Here's Whitehead. Brilliant assist that from Gaze. So Whitehead gets the lead out to 11 now. It's the Tigers 69, the Wildcats 58. We've got a timeout with 5:52 left in the third quarter.
Margaret Ehrlich, part of our 25th telethon, soon.
We're out to chicken treat you, cause we know just how you feel. We're out to chicken treat you, with a 4-buck bonus burger meal deal. Like a new chicken breast fella, lots of lettuce and a sesame bun. Lots of Coke and chips and some licking nose with. Just $4 is gonna get you one.
That's a chicken fillet burger, plus a Coke, plus chips for only $4 every day and night at Chicken Treat.
We're out to chicken treat you, with a 4-buck bonus burger meal deal. I got the taste.
Laser, the class leader for over 10 years. Falcon, renowned for space, safety and reliability. Ford Fairlane, the ultimate in driving luxury. As your local Ford dealer, Peter Stacey has over 2 decades of Ford experience and technical know-how. His team of factory-trained mechanics provides full service and backup, and they offer Ford's lifetime service warranty on genuine Ford replacement parts. Stacey Ford Bustleton, your local Ford dealership.
What did you do at school today, Scott?
Nothing.
So, you spent the whole day doing nothing? Honestly, I don't know why I bother. You look a bit tired. Perhaps we can talk about it later.
You'll never guess what happened at school today, Mum.
Cover my world and everything that surrounds me. Cover my world like you cover my dreams with hope every day. Cover my world and everything that surrounds me. Cover my world like you covered my dreams with hope every day. Cover my world. Cover my world. Cover my world.
Obviously not a Wildcat supporter. The Tigers are up by 11, 69 to 58 at one stage during this third quarter. The Tigers led by 13. The Cats got it back to 6. Now it's an 11-point margin, and Perth with a lot of work to do.
Biggest lead of the game. Wildcats could have used that entertainer for a big screen out there.
Grace goes to Hinchin, so the Cats need a bucket here on this trip. Crawford, who has 13. Here's Grace working his heart out. Torrance to the top and Hinchin. Vlahoff sets the screen. Grace from the foul line. Nice assist of Vlahoff. Gets the roll, and he'll go to the line for the bonus.
Andrew Gaze comes up with that foul. That's his third. So the bucket counts. Nice little dish here.
One to come.
There it goes, and that will send Vlahoff to the foul line. It could be a 3-point play, which they badly need. That it is. 69 plays 61, an 8-point margin to the Melbourne Tigers. A team that was written off as they went into this playoff series against the Perth Wildcats. Copeland got it back. Lost the handle on it, didn't expect the return pass. The Wildcats are not really scrapping defensively. They really have to get after the ball. They're running out of intensity out there. Struggling somewhat against this zone defense the Tigers are putting up.
Here's Crawford with the Cats down by 10. Doesn't go. Sibley. Well, he's having a good game at both ends, Sibley. That's his 7th defensive rebound now as Gaze brings it down. Inside the 5-minute mark of the third quarter, and they're prepared to use the shot clock up. Comes back to Gaze. 71 plays 61. Gaze has 21. Copeland comes out to the top. That's the buzzer for the 10-second warning. Gaze looking to go all the way, and how do they see that?
Well, you heard the call coming in from the side. Andrew Gaze, with about 9 seconds on the clock, decided to go to the hoop. You be the judge here. Does Gaze go straight up, or does he go sideways? Well, I tell you, it's a great non-call in my book. If you're going to protect the shooter like that, the defense may as well just do the old matador and let him go towards the bucket. Vince Hinchin struggling a little bit on Andrew Gaze tonight. You can't take it away from Gaze. 21 points. Chance to build on that. Had 37 in game 1, 29 in game 2.
And now 23 in game 3. The Cats have Ellis, Crawford, Hinchin, Blahoff and Grace. The champs are down by 12. Of course, they're the back-to-back NBL champions. They need to win tonight to stay alive, looking to become the first team to three-peat in the competition. Blahoff fires for 3. Now off the ball, Crawford and Gaze have connected, and by that reaction, it must be against Crawford.
Let's see if we can pick it up here. 7 wide, James Crawford. It's his 3rd. Let's see if we can pick it up for you. Well, it's the same old story. The officials let the contest go until the point of retaliation. That's exactly what happened in the game 2. It'd be a one-on-one situation. Billy Milton Hall telling Crawford that he moved the elbow. Now he's telling him to quieten down.
Finish.
Interesting after all the dialogue that went through in game 2. Mike Ellis back on for the Wildcats now. By gee, Vince Hinchin's played a lot of minutes, Peter.
A better night tonight than what he has had in the previous 2. Has 13, shooting at 42%, but they just simply need more because Gaze, his opponent's got 25. Now it's with Hinchin and Grace. Ellis doesn't put up the shot. Blahoff. The Cats looking to get something going now. Hinchin skips it to Grace. Low post calling for it. Crawford, he's double team. No room to move. Hinchin, this is for 3, and that goes.
That's a help. 64, 11-point margin in favour of the Tigers. They're 75. Just under 4 minutes before three-quarter time.
Hinchin with 16. Simmons, what a game he's played tonight with 10. Copeland and Grace. Copeland with the dribble, looking to take on Grace. He gets easily past him on his left. The 2-shot bucket rimmed out, and it comes out Grace's way. Well, the Cats are lucky let off then. Blahoff at the other end goes behind the back to Hinchin. Grace is free at the top, simply puts his hand in. Now Grace, this time gets past Copeland, and Copeland will come up with the foul.
Copeland's 3rd foul. Slapping from behind. That will send Ricky Grace to the foul line for a one-on-one play. You see, he went around Copeland with the left hand. Copeland let him go left. I see they've got a little comfortable margin now. They've been able to hold around about that 9, 10, 11 mark ever since half-time. What's happening near the Wildcats, Dean?
Yeah, well, they're obviously a little bit concerned, John. I think that, there might have been a couple of suspect official decisions, but from Murray Arnold's point of view, I think he really has to get his players' mind on the job. He can worry about the officiating, and the players have got to get on with the job and play. It's certainly not out of this ball game by any means.
A long way to go, but the Tigers' defence is holding, isn't it?
Yeah, they're doing a good job, the Tigers, but they're swarming, they're double-teaming it at every opportunity. And I just think if the Wildcats can sort of get everybody involved in the offence, they'll be on the right track.
Switch.
They go inside to Simmons. Nice little assist that. Copeland couldn't put it away. Crawford comes up with the ball, and Grace comes down. Here's Ellis. Can he get another bucket underneath? Reject by Simmons. Well, that was worth the basket. At the other end, watch out for the slam. Grace came from nowhere. Well, that was a terrific effort from Ricky Grace, who's hurt himself. He came down from one end of the court to the other. He blocked Copeland, drew the foul, but stopped a certain 2.
I'll see if you can pick it up on replay here. Grace covering the yardage. Well, he got the ball, didn't he? But there's been contact called as well with the body, and that will send Copeland to the foul line. Grace will sit down. He looks as if he's limping a little bit. A couple of minutes break. I'm sure he'll get back out there. Because in that situation, Grace was the point guard on safety. Ellis was the other backcourt player underneath the basket when that shot was rejected.
Copeland in the 20s now. From the line, 7 from 8 tonight, 88%. Early set, rather light on his home court. He has 21, and that margin back out to 11 then. The Tigers 76, the Cats are 66. Hinchin goes to Blahoff. Copeland came from the side. Blahoff kept his cool and got the 2.
Just hesitated long enough, didn't he?
2.5 minutes left in the third quarter. The margin 9.
Ellis on Copeland now.
It's with Gaze. Whitehead to the top and Sibley. He won't take the shot from out there. Simmons backs his way from low post. The turnaround jumper is good.
There's a solid look about the Tigers. Long time to go, though.
Hinchin has 16 tonight. Ellis, of course, with that three-pointer before the half-time buzzer. The Cats will get the ball back from the side. You know, John, the only top 8 side Perth have beaten on the road this year are Brisbane. Their record against the better sides away from home isn't the best.
That's true. There's another turnover there that's not going to help them. When you look at the situation against the better teams, of course, you can't come into that deal unless you start to talk about the massive injuries they had throughout the year. They've got to fight through that now, though.
Whitehead from the elbow, no good. Ellis keeps it alive off the body of Blahoff, and the Cats get it from the side. The Tigers, rather, will get the ball from the side. We've got Copeland sitting down, one of the rare times he's had a rest in this game.
He'll have a long break now.
Of course, Grace is sitting down for the Wildcats. The Cats have Hinchin, Crawford, Blahoff, Watterson and Ellis. Here's Whitehead. And that pass went astray, and the Cats will get the ball from the side. Dean Templeton.
Yeah, Ricky Grace just went behind the bench then and completed a few stretching exercises, obviously just checking to see that ankle's okay. Everything seems to be all right, and I think he'll be right to come back into the ball game.
A 9-point spread. Crowd chanting the Tigers. Here's Hinchin. Athletic move. Does it drop? It doesn't. But Hinchin is sent to the foul line.
Well, they need every one of those now. They've got to stop the clock, take it to the hoop. That's the thing that's been missing in their offense so far. You can't take it away from the Tigers. There's little help here. You can see Hinchin fading, needed to make the bucket just before three-quarter time. Gets the chance from the charity stripe.
Quarter time, the Tigers led by 3. At the half, it was 5 the Tigers' way. And now with Hinchin getting those 2, it's back to 9, 70-79. Melbourne up. And there's 1.5 minutes left in the third quarter, so the game's still very much in the balance. The Tigers have shot very well from outside. 9 from 18 at 50%.
Sibley on the elbow finds Simmons. Simmons has been a real quality player tonight. Will he take the shot again? Looks like he will. And made it. 16 points for Simmons. He's shooting at over 55% from the floor. Has 8 rebounds to go with it. And once more, that 11-point spread favours the Tigers.
Hinchin with the dribble, working against Gaze. Hinchin has 18. Blahoff working hard. Watterson from long range. They need that to drop. It didn't. Sibley gets the rebound. That's his 8th defensive board, Robert Sibley. This is Gaze, the spinning move against Ellis. From 3, from long range. No good. Whitehead gets the rebound.
That'll be on Watterson. Reaching in. Long shot there from Andrew Gaze. Came out to the opposite side of the floor. Watterson struggling, came from behind and fouled Whitehead. Whitehead, what a find he's been tonight. 17 points. 4 three-pointers.
Before the series, he was touted as the best 6th man in the league, Steve Whitehead. And he's lived up to that reputation. 20 points game 1. He's now to 18 in game 3. What a find. That's the second. That's back out to 13. That's been the equal biggest deficit in this quarter. 83-70. We've got 32 seconds left in the half. 23 on the shot clock. The Tigers may get the ball back. Low post, here's Crawford. Misses a sitter, no call. He looked across to Eddie Crouch, still unhappy. And now the Tigers with the last play of the third quarter. Gaze has had a good look at the clock. Yep, 14 seconds left in the quarter. Gaze in the face of Hinchin, one way, then the other. Goes to Purchase. Where will he go? Bounce pass to Whitehead. He goes to the foul line. Off the glass, gets it to go. They time it perfectly. It's three-quarter time, and the Wildcats face a 15-point deficit with a quarter to play. Their backs to the wall. It's the Tigers 85, the Wildcats 70.
Bye.
kind of decided to go to the...
We've got a quarter to play in the elimination final between the Tigers and the Wildcats. The Tigers up by 15. Of course, the winner of tonight's game will go through the semi-finals, but they'll meet the Sydney Kings. An interested spectator here tonight is Kings coach Bob Turner.
Bob, who do you think you're going to play?
Well, it looks like Melbourne at the moment, they're doing a lot better job of running their offense and getting the easy shots, and Perth's having a hard time getting it inside.
Well, of course, on Monday night we saw the Wildcats come back from a similar deficit. Do you think there's any chance tonight?
Well, I don't know. I think Lennard's been rested a little bit, and Andrews seems pretty focused tonight, so they got a lot of scoring power, and I think they learned a lesson on Monday night.
Do you think you can beat them in the semis if you play them?
Well, we've been looking forward to just playing whoever. We know that both teams, Perth and Melbourne, are going to be tough, and you know, it's the next step we have to get over. So if it's Perth, it's Perth. If it's Melbourne, it's Melbourne.
Oh, well, thanks very much for talking with us. Have a nice flight home and have a good semi-final. Peter, back to you.
Yes, Bob Turner, coach of the Sydney Kings, already through to the last 4. The record book is against the Wildcats here, facing a 15-point deficit.
Yes, I think it's going to be a mammoth task for them to come back because they've never done that before at three-quarter time. Still, they were able to keep the Tigers scoreless for the last 4 minutes of the final period in Game 2. If they don't, of course, then it's all over Red Rover and their season ends very, very quickly right here on a court where they've yet to win in season 1992.
Crawford gives the Cats burst juice in the final turn. They have Grace, Watterson, Torrance, Hanson and Crawford. An unlikely 5 out there at the present time. It comes to Grace. Grace goes to Torrance. Torrance to bounce pass to Crawford. Working hard. A big reject by Sibley. What a wonderful game he's played down that end. The Cats get it back though. Watterson goes to Hanson, working baseline. Ran out of room through the hands of Crawford.
Crawford's called for another one. James Crawford's 4th foul. Ball goes off from Hanson on the backboard. Crawford misses it, comes down, and you can clearly see the left hip moving across. Wildcats struggling, need to focus, get more momentum.
Whitehead eventually controls the dribble. It's Purchase who brings it back out. Times on the Tigers side. Sibley goes inside to Simmons. Simmons doesn't get the roll. Crawford battling hard with Simmons, and that's a jump ball. And there's a bit of aggro off the ball with Simmons and Crawford.
Well, Simmons annoyed at missing what he should have made. Crawford annoyed at not clearly sustaining the possession of the rebound. Substitution made from the Tigers. Purchase done his job well. You can see both players grappling for the ball. Referees long ago called the jump. Here, we've got it again for you. Simmons did well. Jump goes in favour of Crawford, but the Tigers come up with possession.
Copeland to Whitehead. 21 tonight. What a game. Sibley inside to Whitehead. He's triple teamed in there. Somehow gets the little reverse layup. The hook shot was good, and he's been inspirational. And the Tigers are out now by 17, 87-70. Blahoff comes back in as Crawford sits down. Here's Dean Templeton.
Yeah, I was just going to tell you that Blahoff was coming in for Crawford. I really think Murray Arnold right now is going to go with his horses. He's got to get Crawford back out there. I'd even get Hinchin back out there. They've got to start shooting the ball up there and try and get this game back into a winnable position.
They certainly can't be defensively oriented at the moment. They've got to be positive out there and go for it just like that. It didn't work, so what? You've got to come back again. Can't lessen on the defense, but offensively, they've been tentative all night.
The first minute of this final quarter has belonged to the Tigers. They're up by 17. Here's Copeland. Grace. And there's a trouble against Copeland, though. Grace did swing late.
Well, Grace got across there, but Copeland had a running start.
It's a Cats ball from the side.
Lindsay Gaze needs a whistle right now. Remonstrating with Milton Hall. He's within the coaching box. He can stand there.
Cats with the acid test then. Here's Blahoff in front of 6,500 fans tonight. He controls it well, needs support, gets it. Torrance from long range, and that dropped. That was with 2.
Only a 2.
Back to 15 then. Torrance has been quiet. In fact, that was his first points for the night. 10.25 minutes left in the game. Sibley has been superb. Goes to the top, John.
Interesting switch on defense. Grace is on Whitehead. Whitehead goes all the way around Grace. sinks another basket. 25 points for Stephen Whitehead, shooting at 64% from the floor. Boy, he's put his stamp on this game.
Grace grimacing. Maybe the ankle's playing up. Torrance for three. No good. Watterson keeps it alive. Lahoff goes to Hansen, and maybe that might lift the Cats.
Well, look at that Tigers defence as well from Whitehead. Wasn't prepared to allow Pete Hansen free entry to the bucket. But boy, give some credit to Eric Watterson, who chased that last ball. Well, 9 minutes, 45 seconds. One of these teams are going to wrap it up and put it in mothballs after tonight. And right now, you'd have to put the money on the Tigers. Still, the Wildcats have shown heart all year. Those two guys would be happy. Lindsay Gaze and Alan Westover. Their game plan has worked.
The Tigers have never got beyond the Elimination Series. As Hansen missed the second, and Melbourne lead by 16, 89-73. The Tigers have been in existence since 1984. Great assist. Gaze bent down, gets the two, and Watterson went crashing.
Well, Andrew Gaze does that so well. Gets free of his defence. Probably does it better than anybody in Australia, Dean Templeton.
Excellent refereeing, man. He saw that it really didn't have much say on that play. Let it go. And, of course, Tigers came up with a basket. But good refereeing by Eddie Crouch. Got a backcourt call here. And that's a turnover to the Tigers.
Trouble to Copeland. In his haste to get the ball down the floor, he's taken just thrown a little step in there. One too many.
Lionel making mass substitutions. Crawford's back out there. Hansen sits down. And Hinchin comes in for Watterson. So the Wildcats, let's check their five then. They've got Hinchin, Grace, Lahoff, and Crawford. Now, Watterson stays out there. Grace sits down. Some confusion amongst the Cats bench. It's Grace actually benched. And they go with Watterson, Torrance, Hinchin, Blahoff, and Crawford. It's with Blahoff through the paint. Gets the two. Important bucket that. And the margin now is 16 points. Tigers up 91-75.
Well, history in the making both ways. Wildcats have to make history to overcome this mammoth points deficit in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, I should say. And also the Tigers striving to make the semis for the first time since 1984 when they entered the league.
He got him on the arm.
Number 10, Jerome Torrance. First personal.
See the tap there on the arm. You're closer to it than us, Dean Templeton.
John, I was just going to ask you, I really make the comment that I can't see the use of having Ricky Grace sitting on the bench. I really think he's got to be out there playing if they're going to get back in this ball game as soon as possible. They've got to go with their best. And, you know, we've seen the Tigers on the Monday night choke in this situation, and there's all the signs that they could do it again.
Sure.
The Wildcats need their best five out there.
Sure, I agree with that. I suspect that he won't be on the bench for long, and they do need firepower right now.
Crawford, the good jumper from the baseline. So it's back to 15. Crawford tonight has hit 15. 92-77. On the clock, 8.5 minutes left in the game. Copeland, the turnaround jumper opposed to Torrance. No good, but they get a second chance. Whitehead has been superb. Whitehead has 27 points.
Well, makes him leading top scorer amongst all scorers.
Hinchin for three. Well, the Cats have got to throw them up now.
Well, they sure have, and I agree with Dean. I think Ricky Grace should be out there right now. And I really am mystified why they haven't run the ball. They've got to run the ball down. 80 points is not going to win any sort of quarterfinal. They struggled early in the season with lack of points. They seem to have redressed that situation. But the Tigers already are up to 96.
Well, the Tigers are answering every challenge. Simmons with that bucket has 16. And Melbourne lead by 16. Here's Hinchin for another three. No good, and Sibley drags in the rebound. So a 16-point spread, 7 3/4 minutes left in the game. And it's a tough ask now for the reigning NBL champions. What a season it's been for Perth. At one stage, 4-8, looked like unlikely to make the playoffs. They turned that around in the second half of the season to qualify in 6th spot. They found a very tough organisation, and another call against Blahoff.
That's his third. Robert Sibley's done a great job out there in the last two games. Substitutions being made. I suspect we may also have a timeout. Lindsay Gaze will just want to settle things down and make sure that the Tigers don't choke as they did in game 2. No indication so far. They have a comfortable 16-point lead. There's about 7.5 minutes before the finish of this game. And right now, Lindsay Gaze has control of his charges and he's setting the game plan.
Over 2 exciting nights.
So we've got 7.5 minutes left in the game. The Tigers are up by 16, 96 to 80. Whitehead has been the surprise packet of the final series. 27 points tonight, coming off a season average of 13. I don't think the Cats would have expected that, Dean.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's a, it's a pretty big gap, and Stephen Whitehead's done a great job out there. What the Wildcats need to do now, and you've seen them start to do it, is extend their defence. They've got to get full court defensive pressure, and I'm sure Lindsay Gaze is learned by Monday night's little choking effort, and he'll have his players remaining positive.
Copeland cuts the baseline. No alley-oop pass then from Gaze. This is Simmons. He's had a great game. That shot doesn't go. Crawford baseline double team, got nowhere to move. He got rid of the Tiger in Sidley, and he's been booked with a charge.
Well, Crawford gets another offensive foul. That's his 5th. He's surrounded here, double team. Of course, there's no doubt of the call. Crawford simply put the head down, looking for somebody to outlet the ball to. A little unfortunately, he was double teamed. Hang on, they're talking about the reset of the clock, and of course, the Wildcats were most concerned.
I'll fix it.
He'll fix it.
What will fix the Wildcats, though?
Don't give him any excuses.
Dave Hancock and Murray Arnold. Running out of time, inside 7 minutes.
They're going to hold it for 3 seconds and then start.
Well, the Wildcats are edgy about this because in game 2, the Tigers had the benefit of an unfortunate slip up on the bench where a new 30-second clock was given to them. They didn't score from it. But right now they look as if they will be looking at the clock situation. I suspect it's the game clock as well.
So 7 minutes, which means it's 9 seconds, not 3. 9 seconds.
Let's go to Dean Templeton.
Yeah, they're going to hold the clock for 9 seconds before they restart it, I believe. So they're going to hold it for 9 seconds. Murray Arnold has said that the journalists sitting near him have told him that it was around that time, so he believes them.
Why wouldn't he? Desperation times for Murray Arnold right now. Have a feel for the coaches in both of these stress situations.
Arnold last year, NBL championship coach, he's first in the league. Lindsay Gaze headed for his best position. And there's Ricky talking
what you've got to try and do is if there's
Bill Milton Hall. There's Eddie Crouch. The game clock now back to 7 minutes. That's the time left in the match.
Well, the foul, of course, gives them another 30-second clock. We were talking about that, but they were more concerned. Oh, dear. When it happens, it happens. Gaze went through, made the contact, no call. Grace went down. Gaze got the layup. 98 plays, 80. 18 points. The Wildcats have got to find quickly.
Grace's shot, rimmed out. Away comes Gaze. He goes for the alley-oop and Copeland, who brings it back out. Brilliant teamwork, and Gaze, knowing the time is on their side, thought about throwing the shot up. There was no value in that. He brought it back out. So they're looking to eat away now in each possession. Sibley goes to Gaze in the face of Grace. Low post is Simmons. The hook shot no good. Sibley keeps it alive. Another call.
Beyond Trevor Torrance. Well, it's winding down. Wildcats can see their season slipping somewhat. They've got to be able to come out now and throw caution to the wind. See Torrance reaching in against Simmons. Simmons will go to the line now. That's the 5th team foul for the Wildcats against 1 for the Tigers. That will send Simmons to the foul line. Chance to bring up 3 figures in their scoreline.
17 for Simmons. It takes me to the point now, the Cats this season have struggled with injury, and you can't ignore the loss of Pinder as well. I mean, that's been, I think, one of the reasons for the Cats' misfortunes this season.
Well, if you look at their power players, both Pinder and Hansen, Pinder, of course, has been missing for some time. They've never quite recovered from his unfortunate demise. If you look also at Hansen's problems with injury, they again are struggling to go inside in the power game, and I suspect that's given Simmons a lot more freedom to score his 18 points and get 11 rebounds.
Inside the 6-minute mark of the final term. An 18-point ball game.
Well, that's a foul right now. Eddie Crouch has picked up Andrew Vlahoff. He racks up his fourth. And of course, once more, you'll see it here on replay. Vlahoff's moved across to that left leg. That's given the offense absolutely nowhere to move. Surprised look on his face, but that's been exactly what all of the players have done. Once more, Whitehead on the foul line.
He's headed for a career best tonight, Stephen Whitehead, 28 points. Margin back out to 19 pre-season in the coaches' poll. The coaches around the league tipped the Wildcats to finish in second spot. The Tigers expected to make the playoffs to finish in seventh spot. Well, it hasn't panned out that way.
92% from the foul line, 23 from 25 against the Wildcats, 18 from 22. It's a holding foul on Gaze, pulling him down. That's his fourth. Let's see if we can pick it up for you now as Andrew Gaze stabs around, comes around. Gee, Gaze didn't have many places to go either. That was a close contact and a judgment call. Looking from this angle, you'd have to say Andrew Gaze was just a little bit unfortunate.
Hinchin with the inbound play. In 87, the Wildcats won the Elimination Series against Canberra. They beat Brisbane in 88. In Adelaide in 89, that one rims out. Another defensive board to the Tigers. And in 1990, they beat the Tigers 2-0. They've never lost an Elimination Series before 1992. They haven't lost this one yet, but it doesn't look good. 5.5 minutes left in the game, a 20-point spread. Whitehead goes back out to Sibley. The shot clock runs down to 11. We've got 5:17. A little bounce pass to Sibley. What a good move that is from the Tigers. And, well, surely that must be it. 22 points. It's going to take a massive turnaround. Hinchin gets 2 down the other end, and it's back to 20.
Well, one of the most telling statistics is the rebounds. 32 to the Melbourne Tigers. We've got a little 36 margin there to the Wildcats. Tigers have done much better than they expected.
Whitehead with 3.
Look at that rebound from Sibley.
Here's Copeland, goes to Simmons. Ellis owns up to the foul.
Once more, they'll take the trek to the foul line. Wildcats have fouled 25 times. No, I'm sorry, not 25. They've given up 25 foul shots. They've fouled 22 times. And of course, that indicates that most times they've been fouling the shooter.
This is Simmons' best game in the Elimination Playoff Series. For tonight, Dave Simmons, 16 points and 11. He's now got 20, and what a good spread that is for the Tigers. Whitehead and Gaze 29, Copeland 22, and Simmons 20. Hinchin goes to Ellis. Grace, this is for 3 over the ring. And Sibley, who's been very good down that end. 10 defensive boards now.
Sibley's limping, getting freer now as he runs down the court.
4.5 minutes left in the game. The Wildcats are down by 22. Well, who would have picked this? Simmons hands off to Whitehead. A star tonight, 29 points. Shot clock inside 10. Whitehead goes to Copeland, no good, and Crawford drags down the board. Counting down to 4 minutes left in the game. Hinchin's got a fire for 3, does so, no good, and Sibley another board. Gaze brings it down, but again he'll look at milking the clock.
Well, the Wildcats really haven't got many things left as the Tigers are playing with the ball now, milking the clock with 4 minutes, under 4 minutes. Even though they've missed the shot, Wildcats didn't score last time down the floor. There's a couple of prayers being thrown up from the Wildcats.
Here's Grace, goes to Vlahoff. The reverse layup is good, that's 2. And the deficit is 20. Vlahoff has 23. Now we've got a problem with Sibley, but we've got a timeout as well. With 3 minutes 39 left in the final quarter, it's the Tigers up by 20, 106 to 86. That's the left knee of Robert Sibley. What a great game he's played tonight. 6 points, but more importantly, 13 rebounds. In that Tigers huddle is Dean Templeton.
Yeah, there's a little bit of concern, obviously, about Robert Sibley's left knee. The physio and doctor are there with him and icing it up. I don't know how bad it is. We obviously won't know until later on. But obviously, he's had a great game. And as John was saying, it's been the support man of the Tigers tonight. It's been Sibley, Whitehead and Simmons who have really taken it to the Wildcats, while Copeland and Gaze have played a sort of a backseat game, I suppose.
Well, they've certainly scored the points, but the sort of scoreline to see 6 points for Sibley and 13 rebounds, that's invaluable.
Copeland has it working against the rookie Chris Carroll, the future of the Wildcats really. Simmons and Blahoff back to Copeland. The shot clock gets down to wait. 3:16. This is Gaze with contempt. That was for 3. Didn't go, but Purchase cleans up for 2.
Well, when it goes, doesn't it? There you go. Nigel Purchase just picked that easy offensive rebound and scored his first bucket.
Ellis looking for his 1600 assist in his career. Could well be his last game tonight. Here's Blahoff through the paint, the easy layup and the 2. Blahoff has worked his heart out, has 25, clearly the Cats' leading scorer, and the deficit remains at 20, 108 to 88. The clock down to 2:43 now, and it's just about good night, Perth. They really couldn't do it from here, John.
No, I wouldn't think so. There's only pride out there right now. The Tigers did choke a little bit in game 2, but they'd have to freeze right over here. 2:38. Wildcats have really gone back into that malaise that plagued them midway through the season, only scoring 88 points so far in a game that means whether they will continue to play or finish their season. That's just not enough points. And you've got to give credit to the Tigers' defence. It has worked well for them. The Tigers have scored 109 so far against the season's average of 114.
Just on 2.5 minutes left. Here's Grace looking to take it all the way, coast to coast. Good layup that by Grace. Takes his tally to 15. The margin to 19. 2:24 left in the game. Here's Whitehead, a star tonight, and Carroll is called for the contact. Whitehead will go to the line. Whitehead with 29 points. The young face of Chris Carroll, his first season in the league. A rookie who has a big future at this level.
See the bodying up there by Carroll. That's when the foul was called. Whitehead once more on the line. 5 from 6. 6 from 6. By gee, they've shot well from the foul line. That's 6 from 7 they're showing now. 7 from 8.
Whitehead with 31. Here's Grace against Copeland. Grace goes to Ellis. This is for 3, and that was good. So Ellis has hit 2 3-pointers tonight. A man that saw no court time.
And of course,
a 1-point game in game 2.
And of course, this will be Mike Ellis's last game. Announced his retirement at the finish of this season. He'll finish it here in the National Tennis Centre, unhappily in a losing game.
Simmons brings it out to the top, and Gaze, who takes on Ellis. Gaze goes all the way, doesn't get the roll, but cleaning up his Purchase. Another 2 for the Tigers. We talked about the demise of Tiny Pinder, the retirement of Mike Ellis. It's really now maybe an end of an era for the Wildcats, who have never finished outside the top 4 since 1987. Of course, they won the 1990 and 91 NBL titles, but not this year. Simmons to the back, and Whitehead. The clock down to 1.5 minutes now, and the Tigers lead by 20, 113 to 93, and Blahoff owns up to the foul. There's the Tigers bench. Blahoff sits down. Fouled out, is he?
Fouled out. 6 fouls. Now you'll see some mass subbing. Tigers getting into celebration mode. Andrew Gaze sits down. Copeland sits down. Gaze with 29. Copeland with 23. Simmons with 20. And apart from Stephen Whitehead, who has 31, they've done the bulk of the scoring in a very, very professional manner.
Andrew Gaze having his first rest for the night. Played 48 minutes here on Monday night. One of the prime movers of this team. Crawford grabs the defensive rebound. 1:22 left in the game. Ellis goes to Grace. Back to Ellis. This is Crawford. Where will he go? Ellis to the foul line. Goes inside to Hansen, and Hansen working hard, gets it off the glass. Hansen, of course, battling a back injury, playing with a cortisone injury tonight, with a cortisone injection tonight, but just basically outnumbered really. Here's Whitehead and Grace. Whitehead double team, Carroll reaching in there, and Carroll comes up with the foul.
Chris Carroll calls for the foul, his second. He reaches in, Eddie Crouch is right there, adjacent to the action, calls him for the hand foul.
The Tigers, who finished 15-9 in the regular season, in 3rd spot. The Wildcats finished the season 12-12 in 6th spot. They did a very good job of making the playoffs. And speaking of good jobs, what a job Whitehead has done tonight. 32 now.
104 points compiled between Gaze, Copeland, Simmons and Whitehead. 105 out of a total of 116. He sits down now to the accolades of his teammates and this very satisfied crowd at the National Tennis Centre who've seen the Melbourne Tigers cement a place in the semi-finals, and they'll go on to play the Sydney Kings.
Tigers starting to celebrate already. Here's Ellis, the short jumper, no good. Lenarden in the Wildcats keyway is fouled, and he'll walk the length of the court and shoot from the line.
Once again, buy your ticket to
46 seconds left in the game.
Ellis with frustration comes around, was looking to dish the ball off to Hansen.
the line, number 6, Stephen Allen.
One fills for the Wildcats, and this man, Mike Ellis, he's seen it all. One and only Wildcats captain. Doesn't go for Lenarden. Crawford comes up with the rebound. Away comes Grace, or rather Carroll. Ellis goes to Grace. Grace fires for three. Good shot that.
Long way out.
34 seconds left in the game. It's 116 to 98.
Fresh 30.
Well, I've got a fresh 30-second clock. 116 to 98. What is it, 32.7 seconds? The Wildcats will be looking for that final buzzer. Ray Gordon dishes off to Tanner.
So we're counting down then the final 30 seconds. Grace across court to Carroll. He wastes no time, pulls the trigger from long range. Hansen looking to tip it in. Comes back Wildcats way. We've got 14 seconds left in the game. Hansen inside. Carroll little pump fake. And he puts it away for two. And this will be the last possession of the game. Game 3 of the Elimination Series game. The Tigers way. 2 seconds. The long shot is short. There's the buzzer. And the Melbourne Tigers are through to the final four. The Tigers have beaten the Wildcats 116 to 100. Murray Arnold and Lindsay Gaze. Perhaps an end of an era for the Perth Wildcats, who haven't finished below the top four since 1987. In 1992, the Wildcats were looking to become the first team to win 3 successive NBL titles. It hasn't worked that way. It's an end of an era and an end of a great career for Mike Ellis, who's standing by now to talk with Dean Templeton.
Well, Mike, first of all, congratulations on a fantastic career. It's probably a very sad way to go out, but you've had a great career.
Yeah, very sad to go out like this, but congratulations to the Tigers. They played a great game tonight. They're definitely the better team in the playoff series, and I wish them luck for the rest of the season. So, we've got some work to do for next year, and that's what we're going to go to from now.
All right, mate. Well, thanks for talking to us, and again, terrific team and a great effort by yourself.
Mike Ellis over 300 NBL games. There's another hero now standing by. This is Stephen Whitehead, who hit 33 points tonight.
Thanks. Steve, that must be your best game ever with the Tigers?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
It was a fantastic effort. Great team effort, but it seemed that Robert Sibley, David Simmons and yourself went in there and helped Andrew and Leonard out a bit tonight.
Oh yeah, so it was pretty much a team effort all the way through the year. We've we tried to stick together. It hasn't quite worked. Now the finals have come, emotions there, and everything's happening for us. So we're going well.
Oh well, you start with Sydney next week, and I suppose you're ready for them.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, mate. Best of luck. Good effort. Well done. Back to you guys.
The Tigers getting a standing ovation as they leave the National Tennis Centre. 7,000 fans here. Melbourne through to the final four. They'll now meet the Sydney Kings. Winners over the Wildcats in Game 3 of the quarterfinals. The final scoreline, the Tigers 116, the Wildcats 100. We'll be back shortly to wrap up the game. Back at the Tennis Centre. It's the end of the road for the Perth Wildcats for 1992, losing Game 3 in the Elimination Series against the Melbourne Tigers. The final scoreline, 116 to the Wildcats 100. John Gardner and Dean Templeton are with me. First of all to you, John. I guess it's fair to say an end of an era now for the Wildcats, the back-to-back NBL champions.
Well, I guess if you look at any team that wants to win 3 in a row and create history, that's a tall order, and once more this Mitsubishi Challenge proved to be such a tough order to fill. Unfortunately, Peter, I don't think the Wildcats ever looked comfortable all night. The Tigers learnt from Game 2. They came out with some swarming defence, and I don't think any of the Wildcats players really played with any authority.
It's been that sort of season. I'll get back to Dean in just a moment, but John, it's been that sort of season with the Wildcats. 12 and 12 after the regular year. At one stage 4 and 8. Where to now for the Cats? Ellis retired. We've got Pinder away. Crawford's not getting any younger, so I mean, what's the future hold?
Oh, I think you've got a franchise there that's well aware of what they need to do. They'll go home and regroup after the initial disappointment. They've got all the work to do for next season. Unfortunately, their season has ended where they didn't want it to end, but they had their destiny in their own hands, and they really have to look now to the future. There's a long time between next season.
Dean, let's talk about the Melbourne Tigers. Full credit to the Tigers. Went into the series as underdogs. They finished in third spot, and now they're in the final four.
Yeah, well, all season, Peter, they've been saying that they haven't got the credit they deserved, and I think in this series they really came out fighting. They went down in the first, and to come back and win the last two, you've got to give credit to the Tigers. And I really think that, we know it's the Gaze Copeland show out there. They are two great players, but I was most impressed tonight in particular with Simmons. Sibley did a great job on the boards against some big players. And Stephen Whitehead, now there's a player of the future, and what a great game. He showed a lot of poise down the stretch. 33
points to Whitehead. He's the future. He's the player of the future for the Tigers. But what about the Tigers now in the last four? They meet the Sydney Kings in the semi-finals. Lindsay Gay said today, if he gets through tonight, they can go all the way.
Well, I think, I really do believe this, and I'm not being patronising to the Wildcats fans. I think that last five teams, including Perth, of course, any one of those teams could have gone through and win the title. I really do. Right now, my favourites are the Giants. But, the Tigers have got a chance. Sydney and Tigers, what a war that's going to be. Giants, Magic, here's another war. We're really going into some great semi-finals.
OK, then let's have a look to see then how this game was won and lost, the match stats.
Well, 116 to 100 really tells it all, and there's very little purpose in going through them, but we must highlight the fact that the Wildcats were beaten on the backboards, 43 to 39. The Tigers, not a big team, not an imposing team within the paint. They protected the ball very well, only turned it over to the opposition 15 times. And the stat that's not showing there is the one that they shot from three-point range, and they shot very, very well from all over the floor.
Rebound count going the Tigers' way. Let's check the individual scorers then. Stephen Whitehead, what a marvellous performance. 33 points tonight. He was the unsung hero going into the final series. 20 in Perth and 33 tonight. Gaze was very good with 29. Copeland got 23. Simmons with 20 and Sibley with 6. The Wildcats, Blahoff 25, Hinchin 23. Grace got 18. Crawford 17. And Hansen, who played with plenty of discomfort, finished with 7.
Well, if you look at those scorers for the Melbourne Tigers, 4 of their players scored 105 from 116. Now, I guess that could be a key to Bobby Turner and the Sydney Kings, but by gee, they did it well tonight.
OK, there are 4 teams left in the hunt now for the 1992 NBL title. Let's go through the quarter-final schedule. In the top bracket, Magic and Canberra, with Magic getting through in 2 games. The Giants against Illawarra. The Giants are through, and they'll start a series against Magic on the weekend. In the bottom half, Sydney, of course, we knew they were through. They beat Brisbane in 2 games. And the Tigers have knocked out the Perth Wildcats in 1992. So that means it's the Magic and the Giants in one semi-final, and Sydney are up against the Tigers in the other semi-final. 3 Melbourne teams in the last 4. The semi-final draw, it gets underway in that half between the Kings and the Tigers at the National Tennis Centre on Saturday the 10th of October. And what about the fact you've got 3 Melbourne teams in the final 4?
Well, we need it. I tell you, you guys over there have taken every other trophy that we've ever had, so maybe we might get one back. You never know.
OK, gentlemen, let's get your selection then. 4 teams left in the running, Dean. Firstly to you, who will win the championship?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I'm not a real good judge. I'd say the Giants. Right now, I think the Giants, but I think the Kings, they play tough, and I wouldn't put them down.
OK, Dean going for the Giants, but having something each way on Sydney. What about you, John?
Well, it's a tough one to pick, but if you put us on the spot, I wouldn't underestimate the Kings. They are tough and uncompromising. The Tigers have come off a very tough campaign against the Perth Wildcats. They won't find any respite here on Saturday night.
OK, thanks, John, and thanks to Dean. Then repeating that final score line, then the Tigers through to the semi-finals. It's the end of the road for the Wildcats. The final score in Game 3 of the Elimination Series. The Tigers winners 116 to 100. Hope you enjoyed the telecast, but for now it's good night from Melbourne.
Hold on.
This 1992 NBL telecast, proudly brought to you by West Track Equipment and Chicken Treat.